The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
While I've not done the research, I only have my assumptions. And I got to say, after following the Peacemaker series on HBO Max and some of this director's previous work, I have to say James Gunn has got to be the most rock and roll fanboy, comic book fanboy that I've been aware of some time. This dude pulls the most obscure shit out week after week, and no spoilers, but there was a goddamn fucking Matter Eater lad reference this past episode. Goddamn. I love this dude, so keep it coming. And welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome to episode 497 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and is recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein, also at the Lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau, and the Lair of the Gods. I gotta get that one right. I gotta purge that from my memory. And we are live on a Tuesday. Yeah, we're a couple days early this week. But you know what? What we lack in punctuality, we will make up for with a mystery guest. And this mystery guest is no stranger to Trick or Treat Radio. He's been on a few times before, and the first time he was on as a interview guest. We had interviewed him and talked all about all the projects he has going on. But he makes his triumphant return to talk all about the things going on in his world of Mixtape Massacre, and that is our boy Freddie Carlini. Freddie, thanks, man.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
You got it, bud. It's a pleasure to have you back on once again. It's been a little bit, but you know, as we were talking about pre-show, the world is a fucking crazy place right now.
Very crazy place.
So Freddie's going to hang out with us. So we're going to find out some more about what's going on with Mixtape and his new project. And then we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife. So we'll be digging into that. We'll probably get a little spoilery. So just, you know, make sure you see it first. Although we were, once again, talking about it on the kind of pre-show before we went live, and they pretty much give everything away in the trailer anyways, so we're not really going to tell you anything you haven't already seen if you've seen the trailer. So, well, before we get too into anything else, I want to dive in and find out what's been going on with Freddie and Mixtape Massacre. You guys have a lot going on. This update might take a while since last time we had you on. You guys have a new project. You have the director's cut of Mixtape Massacre, and you also have Mixtape Madness 2 coming up. And there's probably other stuff, but those are the things that I remember.
Yeah, God, I'm thinking the last time I was on here, I think we were talking about Assassination Nation. So, like, that's how long it's been.
Shit.
But yeah, so we last year, it had been 6 years since we had released our original game. So we did a like revamped edition of it. And you know, it's kind of like when they release like an alternate cut of a movie. It's our director's cut. So it's like packed with anything we didn't accomplish during the initial like making of the game, just because it was our first game or things like that. So we did a Kickstarter for that last year. The fans went nuts. So that got greenlit in, I think, March, and it'll be delivering around that time this year. It'll be the end of March when that arrives. And then in November, I had for a long time, it's kind of funny, I had wanted to step away from Mixtape, not because I don't love it or anything, but it's just kind of like one of those things where like when you're working on the same damn thing, you feel like you're hitting the bottom of the barrel. And I have a big appreciation for aquatic horror. I love, you know, anything dealing with the sea because I'm absolutely terrified of the ocean. So we had actually, it's crazy. We had actually started working on this game before Escape from Tall Oaks. And actually, the original version of Float, some of those mechanics went into Escape from Tall Oaks. And then Float itself completely changed. Like, the game it's going to be now is nowhere even in the same realm as Mixtape Massacre. And we put that out in November. You know, you're basically playing as survivors. Everyone's on a cruise. The cruise suddenly blows up, and everyone's kind of like cast and surviving at sea. And it's basically you have like 7 days to make it to the island ahead, or you get like killed by all the creatures from the deep kind of thing. We put that out in November on Kickstarter. It was kickstarted, I think, within the first few days. And then we unlocked some stretch goals, and that'll be releasing in the summer of 2022. So this summer.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I've seen, I checked in on the Kickstarter, and I saw you guys were doing good, and it looks like you smashed all your goals for the most part. And yeah, it's awesome that people are still so excited about Mixtape and also now with Float. And I love the design and with Mixtape Massacre, we played through it and I've played it several times since. It's actually, like, on the surface, it seems like it's a relatively like easy game to play and to learn, but it is pretty deep. And it sounds like, at least from the stuff I've seen and from hearing you talk about Float, would you say Float is a little bit more of a streamlined game than Mixtape?
Yeah. So, like I said, it's 7 days. So you're actually following a tracker for 7 days, morning, day, night kind of thing. So there's no real like exploring or anything of that nature. It's more like working within your own boat to stay alive. So it's a lot of card drawing. It's a lot of battling monsters and things like that. It's a lot of screwing over your fellow players because at the end of the day, it is a survival game. So each character has their own kind of character traits and things like that. So some characters, they're more prone to kind of screwing people over, whereas other characters are more like the leaders and they want to like try to keep everyone surviving and things like that. But yeah, it's fast, but at the same time, it gets pretty deep and it can get pretty crazy while you're playing, for sure.
Yeah, I'm super excited to check that one out, and it's a great concept. It's it's very simple, and I think it's something that as we've talked about with horror, the real life horrors are sometimes scarier than the supernatural, and something along the lines of that is a scenario I could see a lot of people being in, if like being at sea. And I know, like you, a lot of people are afraid of the deep, of the water, so I think it's sort of an elegant design in the way that you guys present it, and I have a feeling that'll really come across. So it sounds like it's going to be another big hit for you guys.
Yeah, we hope so. Yeah, for sure. I'd love to start building another franchise. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And as you said, it sounds like Mixtape's still going strong. I mean, you guys got the director's cut coming out. What is different about the director's cut, or what can people expect to be a little bit different from the director's cut from previous editions?
So, for starters, there's new artwork in the game. There is additional scenes in the game. We actually call them the R-rated scenes, even though a lot of our original scenes were R-rated, but they're definitely a little more gory and a little more sexual and things like that. Just because it just feels like that's the stuff that gets added in when you see like an unrated cut of a thing.
Yeah.
There's definitely been some changes to the mechanics in the game. There's a new hero mechanic that kind of like there's a character in the game who's basically, her storyline is like the slashers must have done her wrong at some point in her life, so she's like trying to hunt them all down. She's kind of got like a Lyndall Hamilton kind of edge to her. So you're being hunted while you're trying to slaughter people in the town. So that's a new mechanic. A lot of like refinement of things that, like, basically for 6 years you hear like feedback from fans of like, I love this about the game. I wish there was more of this. I hate this. I wish this was different. And it's like, okay, well, it's been 6 years. Like, I'm happy to update the rule book. So, I mean, our rule book, I think, went from like a 4-page rule book to now I think it's like close to 12 or 14 pages. So there's a lot of differences and things in there. There's tons of different weapons in the game now, different cards that you can draw that you can screw people over. The actual hero character in the game can turn into a werewolf and come after you. So it's just those like things of bringing in little elements of horror that we want to bring in. And I think we also kind of balanced characters more. Like some characters where we thought, originally the concept of their special ability or things like that wasn't as strong as some other players. Let's try to equal it out and make everyone kind of have more benefits to each ability. Just stuff like that to really make it a really nice game. And another cool thing we did was we actually we wanted to also improve components. So we actually took the knives from the original game, which were like, they were made from punchboard. We did those as really hard plastic now, and they've got like spot printing on them. They've got like blood stains. There's a serrated edge to them. They've got like a wood grain handle to them and things like that. So just some really nice stuff to really like spice up the game.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And I'm a big fan of the original one. I have the mixtape. Is making me kind of want to get the director's cut now.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing we did was during the Kickstarter, because the big thing about Kickstarters is always like, what's the extra shit that we can like get during this? So we have an extra expansion coming out called the Hallows Eve expansion, which is all, of course, Halloween themed. So people went nuts for that and wanted it immediately. We also have minis coming out for the game, which like everyone freaked the fuck out over. Like, I swear, since we first made the game, we've been screaming for it. But I think people don't understand for like a small business, like 3D sculpting all these characters and stuff like that is not like one of these studios that has like 100 people working there. So it was cool to like get to dive into that and really go nuts with it. So we have a miniature upgrade pack for the director's cut that a lot of people bought, and it comes with 13 characters. So it's the 3 hero characters plus the 10 slashers from the original game. And we did really well with them on the Kickstarter, and if they go crazy and sell out when we get them in, we'll probably be doing all the other characters from all the expansions and sequels and stuff also as minis.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Now, for people who get the director's cut, will all the expansions also work for the director's cut?
Yep. All the expansions are still compatible. The big changes to the rules and stuff are pretty self-explained, but it doesn't cancel out anything that those expansions add to the game. One of the things we tried to do with the expansions was that they more just put new layers on top of the game and didn't so much affect the layers of the original game.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's it's a great way to do it. So that, it is kind of like, there's always that fear that you come up with a new edition and then people who had bought into the game previously won't be able to use that stuff, or will have to rebuy that or something like that. So
it's been the number one question that so many people, I still, literally, I probably got an email 2 hours ago of someone like looking to pre-order it and was like, hey, so will all my expansions still work with this? I was like, yep, 100%. Yeah. You're good to go. Dive in.
That's really cool. And so let me see. So, the best place to find out more would be mixtapemassacre.com, right? Is that the best place for people to purchase and to learn more?
For sure. There's, in fact, if you go to the site, and you can either scroll right down or click on the pre-order pages that are in the navigation, but there's a whole page explaining Float, everything that's in it, pictures, yada, yada, video, and the same for the director's cut. We actually just did a nice unboxing video of the director's cut. People were freaking out over it, so should be cool.
Nice. Yeah, I was just looking at that page right now. I'll have to watch that unboxing later. I'll get too distracted if I start watching it now. It looks awesome, though. As someone who has the original, just looking at it, I can tell this looks like you guys definitely put a lot of effort and love into this. Now, was I assume you guys have been affected by all of the, the shipping delays and the production delays. Is that something that's been a little bit of a nightmare for you guys?
So I'll say this: that has been the most hurtful thing to us for the last year in terms of losses. Not only does the delays hurt you because you're obviously waiting on your product, but the delays have like taking the cost of shipping to an exponential level.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I would probably say we're paying 3 times what we used to pay to get our product to our warehouse, which is insane.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's like you're waiting longer, you're paying more, and there's really no benefit to any of it. So it's pretty crazy.
That is nuts, man.
Yeah, it's definitely been like the biggest pain in the ass, but it's also been why we've kind of kept busy and trying to be inventive and like what stuff we can do in house to keep people excited and keep things going, that kind of stuff. So
yeah. And speaking of that, I mean, the Mixtape Madness you guys did, I played along and did the first one that you guys did. I think it was last year. It was awesome. Like it was a ton of fun, and it added a cool element to it. My partner and I played along with it, and I think it was the first time she had played the game, so we were kind of lagging behind a little bit. But now this next
Sure.
time we're gonna do this one, and once we understand the rules a little bit better, and she's played it, we'll probably be able to join along and play in real time. But I think it was just a really cool thing that you guys did. And what can people expect from the second one, Mixtape Madness 2?
So for Mixtape Madness 2, we're going to be diving into our other game, Escape from Tall Oaks, because so many people like demanded that we do one for that game. So we were like, okay, cool, we can do one for that game. And it's funny because with Escape, there's tasks and things like that you have to do in it. So it blends really well to the format where in this one, so we'll be working with our friends Lovecraft, who did all the music for the last one, and we'll be working with our friends Oddest of the Odd. Oddest of the Odd did the ending to both. They filmed the endings to both. They'll actually be doing an opening and ending for it. And then kind of inside the thing, we're actually going to bring a lot of the characters from the games and the world of Mixtape into the game. And they'll kind of lead you on different journeys. So like if you've played Escape from Tall Oaks before, there's 4 tasks in the game. In the regular game, those will be in the center of the board. During this, they're actually going to be off board. And as the game progresses and as the night progresses, there'll be characters who reveal where those cards are located so you can go find them and things like that. They'll also have side missions and things of that nature that you can like take on to, grab additional supplies and things of that to help throughout the night. And while all that's going on, we're going to have a scavenger hunt with our character, the Myth. So if you can snap 4 photos of the Myth within the night, you'll be able to win prizes. We'll have cosplay contests. We'll have, take pictures of your game night contests and things like that. We just try to make it as fun as possible and to like just have fun with the format. It's really cool to do something like this because it's almost like a full production. Like you're filming like a movie and things like that, and kind of trying to tell a story while letting people play a game. And it just kind of reminds me of the old days of like those games where you'd have like a VHS playing and like you'd have to go and press play, stop it, press play, things like that. So it had a fun element to it. So we kind of like took that and like souped it up and we're like, hey, we have YouTube. Everyone can watch the same thing at the same time, be playing at the same time. And kind of everyone's interactions are through social media and such like that. So yeah, it was a blast last time. And now that we kind of have like the system down, it's going to be a lot of fun this time.
I imagine a lot goes into planning out the YouTube videos, but do you guys actually like attempt to like play test it and play along prior, like as you're sort of like pacing it out?
Yeah, we basically what we do is we figure out all the mechanics we want to do and what they're going to do. And then it's like, okay, now we have to frame a story or something around that so that it'll actually happen. So that's kind of how we did it last time was we came up with the mechanics first, then put the story on top. This time, it's like I said, this game kind of lends itself a little better than the original game to like telling the story because we can play with the tasks. We can play with like certain locations and like slashers and things like that. So it's gonna be pretty cool, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'll check it out, and I love that you guys do these things. I think it's such a cool way to sort of just like have an active community and have everyone be able to sort of play together at the same time and really engage people. So yeah, I love it. I love that you guys do that stuff.
Definitely.
Well, so folks, if you want to check it out and go to mixtapemassacre.com, I'm on the site right now. Super easy to navigate. Go to shop, and then you can see the different games. You can see Escape from Tall Oaks. You can see the pre-order for the director's cut, and then you can pre-order Float, and then there's also the shop all button. You can see everything. You guys have merch as well, and you have some killer merch. So people that really dig the games, or even if they don't like the games, I mean, check out the merch. You guys have some great merch as well.
It's pretty funny. We were in LA and we saw these guys at a bar because we were there for an event, and these guys were wearing our shirts. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, you play our game. And they're like, what? I was like, never mind.
Yeah. Like, it's a game?
Who's Guns N' Roses?
Oh, that's pretty hilarious. That's great. But yeah, Float looks super cool, and it looks like that. I mean, you guys are gonna have a pretty busy few months here, because Float is scheduled to arrive June 2022, and the director's cut is late March. So you guys are gonna have some crazy months there in spring and early summer.
Yeah, gonna be in the warehouse. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. So folks should go check that out. And also, when's Mixtape Madness 2? When you guys going to debut that?
That'll be March 12th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube channel. All you need is a copy of Escape from Tall Oaks and a couple friends, and you can play along with all of us. I highly recommend at least playing the game once so you know some of the rules. Yeah. But yeah, March 12th, 9 p.m. on our YouTube.
Awesome. So everyone go check that out. And if you guys want updates, obviously you can check out Mixtape Massacre on social media everywhere. So definitely follow them and check out the games. If you've never played any of Freddy's games, you guys should definitely check it out. I mean, we did this is years ago now, but we did when we were all in one studio, we did a live playthrough of Mixtape Massacre, and we had a ton of fun.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that. That was awesome.
It was a lot of fun. So it is difficult to actually podcast and do it because we get so caught up in the game, but we had a blast. Do you remember that, Raven Shadow, playing that game?
Oh, it was so much fun trying to like fucking move away from the mic. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But that was so killer. And when even Freddie mentioned like 6 fucking years ago, man, like,
yeah, it's pretty. I fucking can't believe it. Like, I can't. I was like, it's been 6 years. I was like, that's fucking insane.
Yeah, it is crazy.
The tabletop games, I know I do. For those that may know, I do part-time at a local comic shop on the weekends, and we've always had a big tabletop game, community at the shop. But I think it's really blown up during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Have you seen that transcend, or has that been? I mean, has the pandemic been a positive in terms of sales? So
last year it was, or was it last year? I'm telling you, man, I have like 2020 brain where these last 2 years feel like 1 year. It was during, so 2020 is when it happened. Yeah. So that's when we did the first Mixtape Madness, was 2020. And I would say that, like 2020 through the middle of 2021, it was crazy, like how much people were buying games. But I think that also is kind of telling people, is like during that time, it was crazy. People were buying a lot of games, and then it definitely slowed down. I think a lot of people just got tired of being inside. But no, it definitely did. And that was also what led to us doing Director's Cut, because we sold out of the original edition, and it was actually our 5th printing of the original edition of the game. So we had sold a lot of those, and it became a question of like, every time you're about to go back and do a printing, you're like, hey, do we do these fixes? Do we do these fixes? And I was kind of like, we've sold all these games out. I don't want to do another printing of it. I was like, if anything, a lot of people who bought the original game have probably, you know, they've had it 5-6 years. We should really put some work into this and take a lot of these notes that we've gotten over the years and put out a new edition of it. And it's not just from like a double dip standpoint. There's a lot of companies who will be like, oh yeah, we just released this DVD. Next year, let's do an ultimate edition. It was more just from like I've heard this from fans for 4 or 5 years. Let's do this. It was the same thing with the minis. I had heard for 4 or 5 years, you guys really should do minis. You guys should really do minis. It's like, okay. And it was kind of a running joke during the whole campaign. It's like, yes, we have minis. Yes, we have minis. But it was just one of those things where for a year, the pandemic just like made us run through stock so fast. And then it kind of is one of those parts where we had to catch up with ourselves and was like, all right, do we just double down and keep selling like what we've sold for like 5 printings now? Or do we take a step back, relax, and kind of reinvigorate this thing we've made? And at the same time, make the fans happy.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a tough thing to manage, and it sounds like you guys have definitely done it. Yeah, it's such a cool game, and like, I don't remember exactly when the first time we heard about it was, but I remember we had sort of like caught wind of Mixtape, and I think it's because you guys got a ton of coverage on horror sites and stuff like that. And
yeah, I think when we came out, I think like it was really weird because I think that is the only reason we got kickstarted was that like we got covered by these things, because otherwise we would have just been a fart in the wind. But like I think Scott Wampler from Birth Movies Death, he gave us a lot of love. Steve Barton, who was working at Dread Central at the time, he like posted about us and got us a lot of attention. It was really like a chain event. Like this site published us, so this other site noticed us, and they published us, because that's how all those sites are, as they look at each other.
Yeah.
Bloody Disgusting published us, and then it was funny when we got kickstarted. We only did like a limited amount of games because we just barely got kickstarted. It was like we got kickstarted and we put out these games, and that's it. And it was Ryan Turek at Blumhouse.
Yep.
He got his hands on the game. I think he saw it on Instagram from someone else's thing. It was like, you've got to get this. He got it. And he just started having game nights at his house all the time. And it was like an advertisement in and of itself, because people were like seeing him posting this with friends all the times. And then we kept getting requests for it. And that led to us like, Matt and I kind of like made the decision. We're like, all right, maybe we do a second printing of the game. And then, 5 printings later, we're having to make the decision of like, okay, maybe we do a director's cut. It's been a fun, but like crazy kind of adventure. But it's just cool to see like the community that like I've grown up in and I love, kind of like making fans out of some of those people. Like that's really fun for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that must be pretty cool. I mean, Ryan Turek is now like, one of the producers on like the Halloween films and all this stuff. Like, so yeah, like the things that you grew up that were influencing you to make the game now have sort of like come full circle in a sense,
For sure.
It's super cool. I'm sure we can continue to just like shoot the shit with you about all this stuff. And I mean, there's still a ton we could talk about, but I do want to make sure we fit in some time to talk about the movie. So, Raven, Shadow, or Aries, if you guys have any additional questions, we can just kind of pepper them in as we're just kind of shooting the shit about Ghostbusters Afterlife. But want to make sure that we can get in some discussion about the movie, because Freddie is super knowledgeable about film as well, and we always love talking horror with him. So, and this is a good one because it is nostalgic as well, and there's a lot of sort of the idea behind Mixtape Massacre was the nostalgia, right? Like the thinking back to the 80s and the nostalgia of like the idea of a mixtape and VHS and all this stuff. So I think it's only fitting that we're doing a film that has a lot of these nostalgic sort of callbacks. So we'll talk about it in a sec, but last thing I want to say is if you guys want to check it out, once again, mixtapemassacre.com. In there, if you click on shop, you can see all the different games that are available. Escape from Tall Oaks, the Director's Cut, Float, and once again, as I mentioned, all the merch and all that stuff. So, and you guys tend to have, right now, like you have free shipping on orders over 100, and you tend to have like some deals here and there. So So people should definitely keep an eye on that. And if they want to make an order, they can kind of bundle some stuff up and get free shipping on that.
For sure.
Cool. So everyone give that a look. And if you guys do end up checking out Mixtape, let us know. Send us a picture of you playing, or just, of you getting the game or something like that. Or, share it on social media and let Freddie know that you're checking it out. And I'm sure he'd appreciate that. So, all right, well, let's jump into the film discussion. I know, Raven Shadow, you don't get a little smoke break before, but I think you'll forgive us here because we're talking about Ghostbusters. And Raven Shadow, you must be really happy because you didn't have to watch the movie this week because you saw it already.
I've already saw it.
How did you feel when you found out that Freddie wanted to talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Fucking relax, Johnny.
You didn't have to stress out about how to watch a movie or anything like that, huh?
I was getting anxiety. We already watched a bunch of motherfucking movies. You know what I mean? We're doing earlier than normal because some things going on in real life. So it was like, I'm like, yeah, fucking big ups to Freddie. Freddie, did you ever see Empire Strikes Back? You want to come on next?
Yeah, I'm sure he's never seen Empire Strikes Back.
You ever see Halloween, Freddie? I'm not sure. You make a cute little board game. But you ever see Friday the 13th?
I wonder
Rob Zombie directed that, right?
I wonder if Freddie knew that Dr. Loomis parked in a handicapped spot.
Yeah, Freddie, what are your thoughts about a fucking psychopathic maniac loose in the streets, but, a psychologist parks in a handicapped spot? Do you think that's wrong for him?
It's an emergency situation.
Oh, shit. All right, enough about Loomis. We've talked about him parking in a handicapped spot enough over the years. So, all right, well, let's jump into the film discussion. So we're going to talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife, and this film was released in 2021 in theaters, and it actually did fairly well in theaters. This kind of hit when things seemed like they were getting back to normal. It is rated PG-13, and it is 2 hours, 4 minutes, directed by Jason Reitman, the son of Ivan, and was written by Jason Reitman and Gil Keenan. And the film stars Carrie Coon, Paul Rudd, Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, Logan Kim, Celeste O'Connor, and we have a whole host of cameos. I'll leave those unmentioned for now, just in case people haven't seen this yet. Now's your opportunity to go watch it before we talk about it, because we're not going to be super, super spoilery, but, there's stuff. You can't talk about this movie without mentioning the cameos and without mentioning some of the ideas and the concepts behind the film. So we are going to dive into them a little bit. We won't give away, like key plot points or endings, but, we're going to talk about some stuff that's spoilery, but a lot of it was actually in the trailer. So you don't have to worry too much.
There was nothing about this movie that was overly shocking.
No.
I mean, this movie was just fan service, 100%.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think 100
for sure.
I think 150%.
To the end credits.
Yeah. So, yeah. So the and it just also hit VOD and DVD, Blu-ray. All that stuff. So you guys, this is readily available. You guys can check it out. So we'll dive in. We're not going to do a blow-by-blow about this. We'll kind of talk about some of the things we liked, maybe if there's anything we didn't like. But I would say that this, I don't know if there's any other films that did something like this prior to The Force Awakens, but The Force Awakens, for me, is like, it had a good mix of, it was like a reboot-quel, if you will, because in a sense it's a reboot, but it also pays homage to what came before it, but in a way it sort of doubles down on some of those themes. So this is very much in that vein. Is
now I mean, not to 100% disagree with you, but I say this kind of flips it a little bit, whereas Force Awakens was more of a new movie with a little bit of fan service. Ghostbusters was fan service with a little bit of a new movie.
See, I don't know. I kind of agree with John. So have you guys seen Scream?
No,
the new one.
I haven't seen the new
I
one.
haven't. No.
Okay. All I'll say is that touches on some of this topic we're talking about, in the fact that it's like, here's a sequel. We're bringing back some of the old people, but there's a whole new crew of people that we're also following. And I feel like that's become, I think Johnny kind of hit it, that like since Force Awakens, that's kind of become like the formula for like how you do these new, like, all right, we're going to relaunch this series, but we're going to bring back those characters because otherwise people are going to call this a reboot. And we don't want it to be a reboot, even though it is a reboot, but it's technically a sequel. So it's like, that's kind of how like I feel like about this movie, is that they were definitely like, all right, how are we going to make toys out of this and make a whole new launch pad, but make fans happy in the process that they'll come and see the next movie we do. And I feel like that's what this movie does.
See, I'm a little surprised by what you're saying of that, because having not seen Scream, only seeing the promotional material,
Sure.
I've only seen people from the previous movies in Scream. So I just kind of assume it's 100% a sequel to what we've already seen. Now, with the promotional material of the Ghostbusters Afterlife, I have only seen new people.
Yeah.
So it seems more of almost a reboot from what I've seen, whereas Scream just seems 100% a sequel.
And I think it's all in the way it's presented. And I think in this, they wanted to kind of hold it close to the vest a little bit to give you those feels, right? The ultimate feels. Because if they had shown some of that stuff in the trailer, I feel like it would have, it just, it wouldn't have hit hit the right way. Whereas like something with Scream, I still haven't seen the new one, but I imagine with that, it's more about the nostalgia and the characters that you're coming for, and then maybe along the way you'll get some new characters or something like that, and that's kind of a bonus. But
for sure,
yeah, and especially like whatever people thought about the 2016 Ghostbusters, I thought it was fine, but I know a lot of people are like post on online forums about how disgusted they were with it and how it ruined their childhood. And, I just want to say where show us on the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man where Ghostbusters touched you, because Jesus Christ.
That's every horror film and every horror fan on the internet right now. Like, did you see the trailer for the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh my God, the internet blew up. You would have thought like someone took a shit on the internet. I was like, what just happened? Like I was just seeing all these posts and I was like, what the fuck happened? I was like, oh, the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre trailer came out. I was like, let me check this out. And then I'm reading people's comments. I'm like, what did you guys expect from the 9th entry in the most convoluted franchise timeline ever? It's just like, I was like, you guys are like over here expecting Scorsese level like filmmaking. I was just it's so fucking crazy. Like, people are so crazy.
I know. I mean, the 2016 Ghostbusters was fine. I had fun with it. Like, I liked a lot of the things that they tried. I'm glad that they made that movie. But yeah, they were going in a different direction, and they paid some homage to the original, but it wasn't it wasn't fan service like this one was. And I don't feel that this was like a do-over. I have a feeling that this was sort of like, because Paul Feig, he directed the 2016 Ghostbusters, and he has a history of doing comedy and also working with a lot of strong women characters and stuff like that. So, it all makes sense. I'm not here to talk about that Ghostbusters, but
I just kind of want to chime in a little bit on that.
Yeah,
this is a whole rabbit hole we could dive down in, because I feel that that movie is getting shit on more than it needs to.
Agreed.
That movie had two faults going against it right from the get-go. Is that you're fucking trying to remake Ghostbusters, and two, you're trying to make a movie just because it was a male cast. Okay, we got to make it a female cast. Okay, you got all these female actors that are brilliant and comedic and otherwise. Yeah. You don't need to just fucking shoehorn them into a remake of a movie. And that is why partially why I think that movie failed so hard, because they were trying to shoehorn these brilliant actors into a remake that didn't need to happen.
I think that is the biggest fault of these studios. A lot of times is like, and I'll be the first to say I actually love the 2016 movie. My biggest qualm with that movie is I think it's about in the third act. It's spoiler territory, but fuck it if you haven't seen it, I don't care. Yeah, there's like this part where like the ghost from the logo actually makes an appearance in the movie and starts dancing, and I actually like. I remember like I was sitting there with friends and I was like, oh fuck, what the fuck just happened? I was like, and it's like the reveal of like who the bad guy is in the movie. I was like, it's almost like whisker like twirling kind of moment. I was like, this is so fucking weird. But like I thought the movie as a whole was a lot of fun and the characters a lot of fun. But I agree that I think the biggest fault of all studios is they're like, all right, we're gonna make a movie with all women. What's the safest fucking route we can do this with? Let's reboot something else and just cast them in characters that people are familiar with, because they don't have enough faith to just give like these 4 actresses an awesome movie. Like, I agree with that to some extent, because I mean, and I love that movie, but it's like it does almost feel like a smack to the face where it's like we've got a franchise, we're already guaranteed to make some money just because it's a franchise. So
Rave Chow, go ahead. I saw you want to talk.
It's just like I don't feel The Force Awakens is a fair comparison, because Star Wars.
Did you watch the movie?
They don't have sequels. They have continuations. Those aren't sequels. Listen, not for nothing. The fucking Empire did the same fucking. They blew up the fucking Death Star in the first fucking movie. Let's build another one and do the same fucking gimmick. Spoiler alert: there's still a fucking port they can blow up and blow that motherfucker up. In the prequel, it all starts in fucking Tatooine. Like it's all. So I mean, like it's all a continuation.
It's Star Wars is cyclical. That is a literal like that is something that George has said. Right. It's supposed to be cyclical. Yeah.
But those aren't sequels. They are continuations. It's a trilogy.
Well, I mean that's splitting hairs. It's a sequel. It came after the first one, so it's a sequel.
Chapter,
and I would qualify it as a sequel because they're literally continuing storylines and bringing characters back.
Yeah.
Who are like that? All those storylines are continuing. I see kind of what you're saying, but like I feel like they're like I feel more like the Boba Fett or the Mandalorian is kind of not a sequel. It's more like a spin-off, and like they're just kind of exploring other worlds. But I feel like Force Awakens would be a sequel.
And I wouldn't disagree with that. But here's the thing: like with comedies, you get lightning in a fucking bottle sometimes,
or in a barrel,
or in a barrel. And yes, the 2016, those are some fucking funny fucking people in there. But how does anybody compare to Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, fucking Hal Ramis?
Well, to us, nobody.
And that's the fault. That's the fault of the studios. Like you're basically already putting. That's where you get these mobs from who are like, "Fuck these women. What are they fucking doing in this movie?" It's like you're already putting people at odds because you're like trying to compare and contrast. I don't put the 4 of them in the same room as the others, and vice versa. Like I think those 4 women are fucking hysterical. Like Bridesmaids, that fucking movie is genius. I will laugh my ass off watching that movie. But I would never compare the two.
Any more than comparing, like, Ghostbusters would have been better if it had Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy, like they were supposed to.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
But that's it's a whole separate thing. And now I think we're all the same age. Where I mean, I saw Ghostbusters in theaters, and when fucking Get Her, I turned to my mom and said, "I want to go home," because I was by that fucking
library,
fucking
right?
Librarian.
Yeah.
The library sequence is one of the like top 5s from my childhood. I say it all the time. It fucks me up.
Same here,
yeah.
Terrible. You had the real Ghostbusters cartoon, but you also had the filmation fucking Ghostbusters with the fucking monkey and Prime. Remember the commercials? Prime Evil has a real cape. They had a fucking flying car. Like this isn't a brand that I'm gonna die on the hill for. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going to. I thought Ghostbusters 2 was really underrated and took a weird turn. The fact that they were the champions of 1984 and then in the late 80s, early 90s, they're like, "Fuck you! What the fuck?" You know?
Yeah, we're doing birthday parties. Like, yeah, like I agree.
You know what I mean? Well, that kind of leads into this one though, as far as it really can just fall off. Like,
yeah, for sure.
very quickly. It was 100% believable as to why no one acknowledged the Ghostbusters in this movie, because and even in New York, people just forgot what they did within a couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, and the commercial, like all commercials, have been preserved on YouTube, and that's what people remember. The stories of what they did are kind of myth, but there is a commercial that exists that proves they actually existed.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought that is the thing I do like about the story, is that it's like, oh yeah, they are not worshipped and loved for what they did.
No, it very subtly continues on their story in that respect, that they saved the world and then people just forgot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then they saved the world and everyone just fucking forgot again.
I think
it's fun. It's funny because, like, go ahead, Johnny.
I was just gonna say, and I think it's actually a really smart way that they did this, because that's nowadays, if you tell a kid, oh, like this thing happened in the past, they're just gonna look it up on YouTube, and then it's there for posterity's sake, and you can look it up. So I thought it was actually really pretty brilliant the way that they did that.
For sure. I mean, the thing I like about the thing I really thought was it's kind of beautiful. Like, I remember a lot of people were kind of pissed at first when they heard like Jason Reitman was directing it. They're like, oh, his kid's doing it, blah, 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 blah. And I kind of thought like that was like a beautiful thing because there's so many things about family with this movie that I thought was really cool with this movie. That, all right, cool, you're going to have the son's take on this story, which makes sense because it's been years since the original story and we're dealing with new characters. But you know that this kid has an affinity for this story because his father and Dan Aykroyd were the ones who, and Harold Ramis were the original ones who did this story. And I thought it was even cool that, like, they've got, by the way, spoiler, they've got McKenna Grace in it, and she kind of looks like Harold Ramis's actual daughter. It's crazy. Like, she looks like Harold Ramis's daughter in pictures of when they were on set when she was a kid, and she's got like the curly hair and the glasses. It's so creepy, but like I just thought that was a really cool thing, that like, here's a kid coming in, filling his dad's shoes. He's known for doing like indie house films, and he's known for doing like young adult or Juno and stuff like that. And he comes in and he puts a really nice, cool spin on it, and kind of like this idea of like admiring the past but moving forward and stuff like that. So I thought that was a really cool like theme running through the film, and that he was the one kind of carrying that story.
You know what? That was kind of why I was on board with this from the get-go. Whereas normally, once time passes, I am opposed to sequels or reboots or all this other shit. I am opposed until they can prove themselves. This, I was on board even before I even saw anything, because I knew he was a fan of his father's work, and I knew he would continue on and explore deeper into the new generation of what these movies should relate to.
For sure.
And I feel he did that. He held true to the originals, but also embraced the new generation.
I agree 100%. Yeah. And I think is cool because, like, you could almost see the young kids as Jason Reitman and the old Ghostbusters as his father. And that's like, it's like that passing of the torch is literally what's occurring with him directing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was super smart. I'm really glad that they got him to direct it, because yes, as you said, this is kind of a movie about family. Like, when it comes down to it, that's really the heart of this movie. And even with like the kind of like, you know, like broken family unit that they have with the main characters, you know, Callie, Phoebe, and Trevor, played by Carrie Coon, McKenna Grace, and Finn Wolfhard. You know, they're, you know, this sort of down on their luck family who are getting evicted, and they found out that their grandfather just passed away, and they are inheriting his house and all that. So, you know, it's right there just right off the bat, we have a lot of like this family dynamic, and now they're going to, this estranged family is going to see their grandfather or father in this case. And, so they're learning about it too. And I thought it was pretty brilliant the way they did it, because now the audience who has never seen the original Ghostbuster films are learning through the characters, and they could have just kind of hand waved it and been like, oh yeah, the Ghostbusters. But I think they did a good job of kind of like, in a sense, unearthing all of this old stuff and made it super accessible for like a new fan who had never seen Ghostbusters. Because like a lot of us, like, Aries, I don't know if you showed your kid Ghostbusters at some point, but this seems like a movie that you would want to watch with your kid because you showed him the original,
I am actually, that was one of the things about this movie that I am saddened about, is because he is so far away. I wasn't able to go to the movies with him. That was one of our little things. Leave the missus at home. Me and him would go see all these action movies in the theater. And this is definitely one of those I would have loved to have sat down in the theater and watched this with him, because we did watch the original at home and the sequel. He wasn't that into the sequel. He loved the original. And as you mentioned, the family dynamic on this, that was the more diving into more in depth of this story, because the original movies weren't necessarily family driven.
Yeah.
Right.
And as people watch them, I didn't, I had, I'm not gonna say I didn't have a family. I didn't have my own family. I had my parents and my sibling, but I didn't have a wife and child. But now as I watch this, I have my own family, and it touches that more sentimental value that the originals didn't. This hits different points that the originals didn't with me.
Well, it's funny you say it, because my dad was the one, of course, who got me into the original film when I was really, really young. He was the one who kind of exposed me to all horror films and things like that. And this was kind of like one of those gateway horror films, because the original's more of a comedy, but it has those horror elements to it. So it was interesting when this got announced that it was coming out and stuff, and it was coming out in November. I found a theater that didn't have a lot of people that were going to be in it. And I bought 3 tickets, and it was one for my dad, one for my niece, and one for me. So it was 3 generations going to see it. My niece never seen the Ghostbuster films. I saw them, my dad saw them, and stuff like that. And it has become like one of my favorite memories, was seeing this film in theaters with the 3 of them. And I realized as I was watching it, I don't know if this was on purpose. I don't know. But it's interesting that it sets it up with 3 people coming to the house and taking it, because it almost feels like those, like certain levels of accepting death. The mother is fucking anger. So she's like the anger towards death. Finn is kind of the confused one. He's lost. He doesn't know what he's kind of doing. And then Phoebe is kind of the one who's looking back on memories. Like, she's the one exploring and finding all this stuff. So she's seeing like the memories and stuff like that. And I thought that was like an interesting aspect. Again, I don't know if that was intentional. It feels like it was, but it's like they're all like dealing with the death in a different way for different reasons. And they're literally those extreme levels.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting observation. I didn't think of that at the time, but I absolutely think you're right. And it is interesting. Even Phoebe says in the movie at some point, which I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said, like, I handle like my emotions differently than others, or something like that. Even making
Others,
a comment. Yeah. So I think that is a really interesting observation that I didn't really pick up on. But yeah, I think it was super smart to do that, because as you said, Aries, this, the original Ghostbusters, I wouldn't necessarily call family films that dealt with family, but I think because this was the right confluence of events, it came at the right time when a lot of people who grew up with Ghostbusters now have families and they can share it with their families. And I think that it was really smart to do it in this way. And, they introduced some good new characters. I love the Phoebe's character. I thought she was awesome in this. And, and even like, I mean, it's kind of difficult to dislike Paul Rudd in anything. I mean, the guy is like literally like I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that they dislike Paul Rudd. Like, is there anyone in the world who has ever said that?
There's only
I don't know if he said it, but I'm sure MZ hates Paul Rudd.
I don't think
There's
he even can.
There's only one movie I think I've ever not liked Paul Rudd movie or Paul Rudd in the movie, and I think it was Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, shit.
He plays like the suitor. He plays like the suitor of Claire Danes. If you go back and watch him in that, it's fucking so weird that's Paul Rudd. But like, yeah, I agree. Like almost even when he plays like a bad guy in like Mute or something like that, he's awesome. Like he's a great actor. Like
Yeah.
and he blends well to everything.
And
Which is nice.
yeah, and he fits in so good. Like, I mean, like if you're a fan of like Conan O'Brien and you've seen him play the fucking Mac and Me clip over and over and over, like seriously, how can you not fucking like Paul Rudd? And he's like he's a vampire too. I mean, like the dude, like
gets better with age.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hate him for that reason. The motherfucker's probably 10 years older than me. Looks 20 years younger.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah, easily.
That was a funny thing. I don't remember what movie it was. I just remember seeing this, like when Wilford Brimley was it Cocoon? Oh no, it was a Cocoon or
Cocoon. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, there was some like
Cocoon.
meme. Yeah, and like when Wilford Brimley was in Cocoon, he was the same age as like Paul Rudd is in one of his latest movies or something like that. And it's just crazy to look at the two because Wilford Brimley has always looked old. And Paul Rudd has always looked young, like even back as so far as like
in those comparison photos. Yeah, in those comparison photos, Wilford Brimley could have still been Paul Rudd's father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that this cast is super likable. I don't think they did anything wrong with this. And I'm looking at the chat. We have our buddy Tim Collins is hanging out watching on Facebook, and he says that Finn Wolfhard thought he wouldn't get the part because he dressed up as a Ghostbuster in Stranger Things. Which I actually had forgotten about that. It's kind of funny though.
Yeah, that's right.
I digitally just said that. Yeah.
They all go trick or treating as Ghostbusters. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the second season, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're all like,
yes. Yeah.
That's right. Because the girl who's now in the show, she pops up as Michael Myers and scares the kids. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
So that is pretty
That's
funny.
awesome.
And he says Tim had another comment. I won't say because it's a little bit talks about some of the end stuff, but he liked how one character kind of sacrificed everything to protect things. I guess I'll say.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. I know it is. Yeah. It's pretty clear who he's talking about. But I think that's one of the like cool driving parts about the film, and I thought that was probably like one of the best ways to like treat that character for what the movie was going to be. I think that's an awesome way to treat the character. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was a cool story element.
Yeah, I think it was as well. Really good way of showing that. So let's I don't know. I guess we can talk about some of the highlights. Like I said, we're not going to do a sort of breakdown of the plot, but it rehashes a lot of things. Like I said, that's why I thought that Force Awakens was a good sort of like analogy because they rehash some of the same events in a way but in different ways. Like for instance, they're in Oklahoma in this and not New York, and but we do get a lot of the same things, but we get a lot of the discovery by these new characters. And I think that's, as we talked about with the 2016 Ghostbusters, already the cast had a lot working against it because they were put into roles in which they were the new Egon and Venkman and Stantz and Zeddemore, and that's kind of putting them at a disadvantage. Whereas with this, now we have these kids. I mean, how can you hate Paul Rudd? How can you hate these kids? It's they did it in a way that was smart because now you're not going to be comparing them to what came before, and I think that really helped out here. And
McKenna Grace, I felt like she carried this movie. Oh, like her character,
sure. Yeah,
she's that girl. Like she was also in the Annabelle, the one with the house.
Yep.
Where it's like all the stuff is in it. What is that? Annabelle? I don't know, but she again in that film too. She's incredible.
Home.
Like Annabelle Comes Home. Yeah, she is that girl's just going to continue to kill in movies. She's so good.
Yeah, she basically played from like 2015 to like 2020. If there was a young version of a character, she basically played it. Like she played young Carol Danvers. She played young Sabrina in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. She played young.
That's right.
Yeah, like she played the young version of like she played Tanya Harding as an 8-year-old in I, Tanya.
Oh,
you know,
that's right. That's crazy.
In Once Upon a Time, the TV series, she played young Emma. Like she literally played the young version of like so many characters over the years. So I mean, obviously there, even I haven't seen the Vampire Diaries, but she plays a young character in that too. It's ridiculous. So she was like the young version of.
Well, I don't know if it was intentional or not. But it seems like they were kind of misdirecting as to who was the star of this. I was led to believe that
the trailers.
Like Finn was going to be the main hero in all this. Like the fact that it revolved around her, I was a little shocked, pleasantly surprised by it.
See, I actually thought because they had that trailer that played before everything. It started with it was like a scene. It was Paul Rudd in the grocery store with the little marshmallows.
Yeah.
And I was like, so is Paul Rudd like the main? I thought I was like, for this dealing with like these kids and stuff, is he going to be like the like leader of the kids or something? I was like, why is he like they devoted a whole 2 minutes of a trailer to his scene. I was like, I guess he's the main character. I was like, I don't know. So, but yeah, I will say they did not make you think like she was going to be like the main person. That's for sure.
Yeah.
For me, it was going.
Go ahead, Reverend Shadow.
For me, going into it, like there was no way this was going to be the previous two films. This was not going to be. And once again, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, the real Ghostbusters cartoon. There was the extreme Ghostbusters cartoon that had Egon leading a weird team with like a wheelchair-bound kid. You had a couple of video games that supposedly was a sequel. You had Ramis and Aykroyd trying to do a third movie for years. Urban legend had it that they would send the script to Bill Murray and he'd always put it in the shredder, right? Right, that story.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Like then you have the 2016 stuff that didn't tie into any of the original franchise, but would use some cameos of others. But I still wonder, like, wouldn't it have been dope if like Thor was Oscar? Growing up, I still think that would have been a fucking brilliant thing. That the only original character.
That would be that would be pretty tight actually. Yeah.
There's no mention of Oscar at all in the sequels or any of the films that came out.
Yeah. Nope.
But that was funny of like the quasi stepson of Bill Murray and the real son of Sigourney Weaver was fucking Chris Hemsworth. Dope.
Yeah.
And then all of Saturday Night Live. Like the brand is I don't think it's the comedians. And yes, we all love this stuff. But I think going into it, I wasn't expecting 1984 laughs. And I was really touched. I wasn't looking for the laughs. I was looking for this family. And I was really caught up in young baby Egon, the daughter, and her journey, and Finn. Like, so like what I'm trying to say by attempts at jokes is that I wasn't expecting 1984 Ghostbusters.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I mean, I don't even think you could like there's a thing with like the passage of time, like it means so you'd be trying too hard to create that film. You know what I mean? Like it almost feel like you'd be rolling your eyes and be like, "Oh, see, this is like that. Remember?" Whereas I thought this definitely felt more organic and it felt more real to me. And it's like you've been learning the history about their grandparent and stuff like that. That felt more real to me.
Well, I think that's, they realized where they went wrong with 2016 because a lot of just trying to read the movie with these new actors, and you can't do that. So you need to almost start fresh, even though you're continuing the story. And they succeeded with this, with starting new but continuing on. They fan service, but it is a new start. You didn't need to see the originals to appreciate this, but there's a lot of subtle wink and nods and a lot of just like punch in the shoulder. You get that type of stuff that happened
For sure.
Yeah.
You got to know the original story about the like Dan Aykroyd's original script, right? Like just how
three
for all of them, like just how fucking bonkers they are. Like he was like,
he's out. Aykroyd's out of his fucking mind for real.
Yeah, like because even I don't know if you saw him and Vincent Hudson and Bill Murray on, I think it was Jimmy Fallon. I watched like the segment of them because I wanted to see it, and Dan Aykroyd was talking about his father and how his father, was into like the spiritual realm and all this stuff, and like that's where this story came from, and it's great to see my father's work being respected. And Bill Murray's sitting there looking at him, laughing his fucking ass off because he's just like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like this is fucking insane. Like what are you talking about?" But it was just like I remember like actually hearing the story about the original script and how like Ramis and Reitman like redid it all. Like it would have been an entirely different movie and different. I mean, I don't even think it would be a franchise because I don't think anyone would have bought into like how crazy like gonzo the original thing was. I think the original thing was almost like third dose on TV. It's funny to me.
See, now I remember hearing about the idea of Ghostbusters 3 and diving into another dimension.
Yeah,
and that's where I kind of feel like they're with this, and as far as the whole Hollywood going into exploring multi realms and everything else, I don't feel it's beyond the realm of possibility that the 2016 movie characters appear in the next Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like everyone's going down that rabbit hole now. Like, I think everyone saw like how well, the what's it called, the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse did. Then they did like a live action version of it.
Yeah, and the Far From Home. Yeah,
No Way Home or something like that.
No Way Home. Is it No Way Home? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Far From Home is the second one. Everything deals with home. It's like Homecoming.
You can't have home in too many titles. I get confused.
Yeah, Far From Home and then No Way Home. Which I thought No Way Home was a fucking fantastic film. Like it was really cool. But it's just it does feel like that's going to be like the new brain drain where they're just like, all right, all movies, we're going to be able to bring all of our characters into it because of dimensions, and it's like that's going to be like the new thing.
Yeah,
so yeah,
I'm waiting for the next Friday the 13th to have like 4 different Jasons just hacking at each other.
There you go. That's
as long as one of them's Jason X, I am fucking in. I am fucking in.
I wanted to read real quick. Tim in the chat says the Ghostbusters
Jason of Two Worlds.
Yeah. The Ghostbusters video game that came out on Xbox One was based on Dan Aykroyd's initial concept of the third Ghostbusters film. So that's interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of weird shit in that game.
Yeah, I believe that's the same one that was for the PlayStation that I played. So yeah, that
They
was
just
a bizarre game.
I got the remaster, yeah, because it's now remastered or whatever for the Switch and PlayStation. I got that for Switch, and it's a fun game when you get to do like the Ghostbuster parts, but the story is definitely wonky as hell.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
One thing about this movie, though, there was comedy, but it wasn't that. It wasn't. But it was funny in its own way. Like
For sure.
This movie. If there was a box set of Ghostbusters, you know, the original two and this, it doesn't feel like it's quite the right fit. Now, is it a fan service homage love letter? Yes, but it's not like The Hangover 1, 2, and 3, right? Like,
Well, that box set came out today. It's literally one of the.
oh, did it really?
It's one of those cases that they trap the ghosts in.
Yes, I still want that.
And they didn't include 2016. It was supposed to be. It's called the Ultimate Collection, and it doesn't include 2016.
I'm disappointed that doesn't have the 2016. But
Yeah.
if anyone listening wants to buy that for me, I'll happily accept that.
Yeah.
Corny.
Well, I thought the kid, in terms of comedy, I liked to podcast. The kid Logan Kim.
Yeah.
That kid was fucking hilarious. Like, I loved him.
It was a different kind of comedy.
For sure.
And I wasn't obviously, you know, I'm 45 years old. Of course I missed 1984 Bill Murray comedy, but I wasn't expecting it. But I liked the comedy that was here. And it was fine for what it was doing.
Absolutely.
Well, see, that's it. Well, that's the thing. It's a modern. They weren't trying to recreate Ghostbusters because Ghostbusters would fail now because of the structure of it. Modern movies need to have a different structure, and this movie followed the modern structure.
I'd agree with that. I do think a lot of times when people try to recreate like the feel of old films, it doesn't, like, you can go back and watch those movies because you've seen them, and I feel like you digest them because it's like something you've already had before. But whereas if it's something new and it feels like something way, way old, it doesn't work as well. The one movie I take exception with that is I just saw Nightmare Alley in theaters, and that is a fucking good film. But I can see why, like, it probably didn't do well with like audiences because it is definitely an old film. Like, so much about that film is an old film.
Yeah.
Well, there are certain movies that kind of can exist without time, and any generation will find them funny. But there are other movies that the comedy exists in that time period, and a new generation doesn't necessarily find them funny. I've spoken on this in the past where I've had my child watch Young Frankenstein, and he kind of, I never heard him not laugh at a comedy before. And I find Young Frankenstein hysterical. And he just kind of like watched it and was like, yeah, it's good. But never laughed at it.
Yeah.
Didn't laugh out loud at it.
I think comedy is, I think he hit it right there though. Comedy especially, which Ghostbusters is a comedy to me. I do consider it a comedy first, and has like its horror elements and sci-fi elements second. It's because of the cast. But comedy, I feel, is a time capsule. Like, what worked and what was funny then, like, who did I watch recently, like a comedy skit of? And I remembered I used to watch them when I was a kid, and I was like, this is crazy, this is funny. And then I watched it recently, and I was like, this is not funny at all. Sam Kinison.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, if you hear some of the shit he says now, you're like, no, bro, what are you doing? It's interesting because, it's interesting because I had just rewatched. I mean, I rewatch it every now and then, and it's definitely a movie that works at its time. And now, man, like, the punchline of the movie does not sit well with me at all. It's Ace Ventura. Like, that movie is hysterical, but then the punchline of the movie is basically that the bad guy is trans, and it's just like, it doesn't at all work. The punchline doesn't work the same as in the 90s, because it was a different like social norms and stuff back then.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of stuff like that. Like it's funny.
Like,
I had the same. Yeah, this is kind of.
it doesn't work at all anymore. I actually watched the second one more. Like, I like to watch the second one more because we could skip on. That's really weird.
Yeah, you kind of just want what I can do of the fun.
Skip when you can say, what is going on? This is so weird now. Yeah, I think that's part of what you guys are saying. That we're like, that Ghostbusters could not be made nowadays, and I feel like doing a movie with those comedy elements and stuff wouldn't hit the same way that it did in '84. I agree a lot.
And Jesus Christ, they fucking open cards.
That's right. Aykroyd gets a blowjob from a ghost and stuff like that. Like it's just like stuff like you couldn't even get that into this film. I don't think they would have gotten a PG-13 rating.
Over my head.
My I took like my little buddy. I took her to see it, and she's like, not gonna have like the jokes that the original had. I was like, no, I don't think they're gonna be the same film. She's like, because that first one's pretty dirty. I was like, yeah, it's pretty dirty.
Yeah, but you could pretty much just go, yeah, but it went over our heads, so it's gonna go over their heads too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And the way they credited was it was funny.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get little touches, the music, the score they did, and that was like, oh shit. So little by little, like, this is kind of like Ghostbusters. So like, if you're an aging fanboy, was a batshit crazy fucking scientist, you know what I mean, that maybe saved the world, but you know, wasn't the most nurturing fucking dude.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of wonder, like, is that totally Annie Potts' daughter? Because it really should have been.
Well, and it's interesting because that element right there, where it's like the dad saved the world, but wasn't really there. I that's another thing where I would love to pick Jason Reitman's head, and it's like, yo, is that kind of like your feelings when you were growing up? Is like your dad was doing these big movies.
Yeah.
Sure.
So like you kind of felt like everyone else saw him as this great big hero at the time, and you were kind of left to your own devices as a kid, kind of like there's like a lot of interesting elements to it that I think that's why it works so well. Is he's writing it, he's directing it, but he's taking from like the things he loved about his father's world and kind of built off that.
Is it one way, and before Ari jumps in, is it kind of like Robin directing the Justice League movie? You know what I mean? Where he grew up, now he gets to play with the
No, it's like Jason Reitman directing a Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, but he's the Robin. Jason Reitman's the Robin, and he's with these fucking Titans.
But you don't need an analogy to explain it.
All right.
He's just the son of a famous director.
I don't get how you brought Justice League the movie in. You brought up Robin, who isn't even in Justice League the movie.
With his super friends.
Robin would make a fucking great director, man.
He would be great. Dick Grayson would be.
Oh my god!
All right, well, I want to start to wind things down because I know we got to let Freddie go in a bit here, but I think this has been a super fun discussion. We didn't really discuss the movie so much as we discussed sort of like the greater concept of this movie and the ideas behind it.
Can I say one thing about the movie?
Yeah, please.
When Olivia Wilde shows up in this fucking movie,
yep.
I freaked the fuck out. because I was blown away that it was Olivia Wilde.
Yeah,
but Olivia Wilde, huh?
She's uncredited too.
Yeah, which is it's. I'm trying to think. What was the other movie where the person showed up and it was like a good moment? It's what's his name? Henry Winkler from Fonzie. He's not credited in Scream like everyone else, but it's like he's in the movie.
Yeah, because I actually looked into that. I was wondering why she was uncredited, and I guess the reason is because there's technically 3 people that played that character, and because there was someone who did like Emma Portner, who was I think the former partner of Elliot Page, did sort of like the spirit of that character. Because she's a dancer, cool. So she did a portion of that, and then there was a different actress who did the voice, but Olivia Wilde did the main on-screen version of that character,
on-screen elements and acting. Yeah, and it's so crazy because there's 3 or 4 other actors who have not big roles, but they're substantial roles that deal with key scenes, and they're all uncredited. So it's if you go look up the movie right now, you'll find who those actors are, but you'll have no idea until you see the movie who they're fucking playing, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And even I'm just looking now, Josh Gad apparently did the voice of Muncher. I don't.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, he was, which is interesting because I wouldn't really say he did the voice. He did the noises for Muncher, but it's but it's just interesting those little elements they have in the movie. I was oh, okay, cool. This is pretty cool.
And J.K. Simmons probably had the smallest role of his acting career in this.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that has to just be a Jason Reitman connection because he's in so many of Jason Reitman's films.
Oh, okay.
He's in Jennifer's Body.
Yep.
As the coach, which Reitman produced. He's in Juno. He's in Thank You for Smoking. He's in all of Jason Reitman's. Oh, in Young Adult. He pops up in Young Adult too.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting how many movies he's in of Jason Reitman's.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy.
Okay, can I just tell you, you guys just name dropped 3 people I had no idea were in this movie.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons?
Where was he in this movie?
Go back when you get off, or Johnny, tell him when you guys are, you will he plays a pretty big role in terms of the story, but it's a very small part.
Yeah.
But
think of somebody in a casket.
Think of somebody connected to so many of the films.
You know what? I'll probably go back and watch this and go, oh yeah, and I'm just blanking out right now because I had no idea Olivia Wilde played that character. I looked that up and went, oh shit.
Yeah, that's Olivia Wilde, and J.K. Simmons. His character is pretty key to the story. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. That's the thing I like though, is they just bring in these interesting actors and actresses to play these small parts. But I think it's also that alone can tell you the power of this franchise is that people are oh, fuck yeah, I want to be in a Ghostbusters film. Oh, I'm going to be in that shit for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. It's like Star Wars. I mean, the Star Wars analogy was perfect because how many people pop up in Force Awakens as I think it was Edgar Wright and Daniel Craig play stormtroopers at one point.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be in the fucking movie.
I know.
You can just be yeah, come on set for a day.
There are movies that I would pay to be a part of.
Right?
Star Wars, Ghostbusters. Yes, I will pay to be a part of that. I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Didn't Brad Pitt actually have them pay him $1 to be in Deadpool 2 because he wanted to be in Deadpool 2 because he likes Ryan Reynolds or something like that? He was just I want to be in one of the superhero films, but I don't want to be in the film. Yeah, so he just showed up.
He shows up for a half a second in quarter-second increments,
and he said his kids were not impressed. He was I thought they would have fucking loved this, and they weren't impressed at all.
Yeah,
so good.
And even another one, Bokeem Woodbine played the sheriff in this, and that was such a minor role, but he's been in so many things over the years.
Dude, yeah, he's what's his name? Who plays Satan in Constantine? I always equate him to that role because I love him.
Oh, Peter Stormare.
Peter Stormare. Dude, that guy has been in every fucking film. He's played a 30-second part.
Yeah.
He's played a whole entire role. Like, that guy is in every movie. I love him. Like,
He's
I
the
love
best.
those people. Yeah, he was even in American Gods, the TV show. I love the first season of that. Everything else sucks, but he was fucking awesome in that too. Like, yeah, he's such a beast.
Well, and then my favorite role, I think one of my favorite roles, he plays one of the nihilists in The Big Lebowski.
It's not fair.
So good. I could talk about that guy all show. I fucking love it. Love Peter Stormare. He also, like, one other fucking weird role. Just while we're talking about him, he was in Dancer in the Dark with Bjork, playing like a super serious role.
Yeah,
and he even like did a duet with Bjork in that, and it's fucking awesome. On the soundtrack, it's funny. Oh my god, I just forgot his name. The singer of Radiohead.
Tom York.
Yeah, Tom York actually sings the part on the album, but Peter Stormare sings his part in the movie. And
dude, speaking of Dancers, that's the movie that Bjork did not want to come back and do movies after, wasn't it? Like, she did that movie.
I think it fucked her up. Yeah,
it was Dancer in the Dark's Lars von Trier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the movie. Okay, so she quit that, but since we're going off topic anyway, she's now going to be in that fucking Robert Eggers film, The Northman.
I saw, yeah,
and she looks like she's coming out of one of her music videos.
Yeah,
it looks fucking awesome. Yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait for that movie either. But yeah, that's just the way this works. We go down these fucking rabbit holes and start talking about Peter Stormare.
Well, and I think that's the cool thing about franchise films is literally they're like 6 degrees of separation. You can just start talking about characters who pop up in them, and they're in like everything else. It's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. We didn't really. I guess we'll talk when we do our verdict. Let's talk about kind of favorite scenes or favorite moments or something like that, because I feel like there's so many that we didn't really get a chance to talk about. So we can kind of hit on those when we're doing the final verdict. But yeah, I mean, I think that this hit a lot of it hit all those nostalgic bits, and it really, I think drove a lot of this home, because this movie means like the original Ghostbusters means a lot to a lot of people. And, it's one of those movies that, back in 84, I don't know like when it would have been on HBO or whatever back in the day, but I'm guessing like 86 probably. Like it was probably plastered all over, because I remember I saw it at least, I don't know, 30, 40 times when I was younger, if not more. So, yeah, I mean, this movie means a lot to a lot of people. And, I think that they did a really smart job of really bridging that gap between generations and making it like wide, like opening up to a wide audience, opening it up to kids now, to, like kids who might grow up in the early 2000s, maybe the 90s, and even the kids who grew up with Ghostbusters. Like, I think this really bridges generational gaps, and I think you're right. It was a right confluence of events. Jason Reitman directing it, I think, was huge, and having all the connections with the other characters that came back and appeared in this. We had pretty much like almost everybody that was able to, except for Rick Moranis. And that's actually, Marion called that out and says, for me, the only thing missing from this flick was a Rick Moranis cameo.
Agreed.
But he didn't want to. I think he's backed away from it.
He has. I think he's done with acting. I think he recently did something, if I'm not mistaken. I could have sworn I saw him pop up in something.
See, I saw an article that he was going to be actually making his first film back in a long time, but it's not something people expect. But like, his story is interesting, man, because his wife died, so he literally quit acting to be there for his kids and take care of his kids. And I thought that was I was like, God damn, that's because he was like at the top of his game when he was doing everything. He was doing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He had the Ghostbusters flicks. He was doing like Canadian Bacon and shit like that. Like, he had those like commercials he was always doing where he had like a brother, and they were always like doing comedy bits.
Yeah, the McKenzie brothers. Yeah,
that's right, the McKenzie brothers. So it's just like, I mean, I think that's Little Giants. That was like actual like successful movie, but like, and then he just walked away from it.
where he kind of got backed off when his wife died because he was actually in love and didn't want to.
Exactly. Yeah, man. That's cool.
I'm sorry. He was the weird way of you putting that, Raven Shadow. He was actually in love, so you know.
That's so weird.
Jesus
Such an
Christ.
odd concept.
That's the fucking problem. You can date again. The fuck?
Oh no, I think it's funny, not funny, but weird that he kind of, disappeared for a while and was taking care of his children. And then all of a sudden he reappeared in something recently, and then after that he got beat up on the streets of New York. Like,
Yeah,
the
that's right.
fuck?
it's like, okay, you know what? You're not right for this world. Just go take care of your children and disappear again.
Yeah,
You don't deserve that.
that is a hell of a welcome back. It's like, all right, I finally make my appearance in the real world again. And
Yeah.
some asshole hits me.
And it's not even like they're beating up Rick Moranis. They're just jumping some random fucker on the street, and it happened to be Rick Moranis.
What an asshole!
Yeah. It looks like he's in pre-production on a movie called Shrunk, which I'm guessing is going to be a Honey I Shrunk the Kids style like reboot.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, speaking of which, Josh Gad is also in that. The only two actors named are Josh Gad and Rick Moranis. And it's going to be directed by Joe Johnston.
Wait, Joe, like Rocketeer?
Yeah, the Joe Johnston, yeah.
Fuck yeah!
Yeah, Lucasfilm Joe Johnston.
He did Jurassic Park 3. He's a fucking beast. I like Joe Johnston. He did the first Captain America.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's a fucking beast.
And he, if I'm not mistaken, he did he was the art director for Empire Strikes Back as well.
Oh wait, he did the Wolfman.
Yep.
I wouldn't brag about that one.
So you know what? I went back and I watched the unrated version. It's not like the worst film ever. Like when I first saw it, I remember I hated it, and a friend told me actually to revisit. They're like, you should revisit it. Like, there's like actually some positive stuff to it, and like I revisit it. I actually dig it a lot more than I did when I first saw it. I feel like
was that the Benicio del Toro one?
Yeah, that's the Benicio del Toro one, and
Yep.
Hugo Weaving and Anthony Hopkins and Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt plays the love interest in that. Yeah, the first time I saw it, I saw it in theaters. Actually, do you want to know how bad? That's actually a movie experience I remember, because the movie started and you hear the wolf like growl like really bad, and all of a sudden I hear wah! And people some guy stands up and goes, "Are you fucking serious? You brought your kid to this shit?" And I was just like, oh no.
My God. What a nightmare.
I was like, this movie's just going to go downhill from here. And it did.
It was an ominous beginning. Jesus Christ.
The only other time that ever happened to me with a baby in the theater remains, I literally thought we were being punked when it happened. Was we went to see Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the movie. And the shit starts up, and it's Mastodon playing as like the fucking food. And they start singing that song, and there's a part where the guy screams. He's like, "Did you bring a baby? Take the fetus outside." And some woman stands up with her kid and fucking left the movie. And we thought we were being punked. I was like, no fucking way, that just happened. That doesn't happen in a movie. Like, but it was, oh man, that shit's fucking hilarious.
I have an experience that's not, it's a little dissimilar to that, but I went to go see Contagion in the theater when that came out. It was like 2011 or 10. And, we're like a good halfway through the movie when everyone's starting to get sick now. And like the person behind, went with a couple of coworkers. There's like 4 of us sitting like side by side. Someone directly behind us starts coughing uncontrollably. We all just looked at each other. We're like, oh, fuck.
I couldn't imagine. We were talking about that movie actually with all the shit that's been going on.
Yeah.
We were like, would that movie have, if it was released now, like as a, the pandemic happened, so let's release our pandemic movie, would it have been as strong and frightening as it was? Because when that movie came out, for the next 2 years, I was actually pretty paranoid being around fucking, like, it was just like, I don't want to get sick like that. That sucks. I'm so curious if that movie would do well now. You know what I mean?
It's funny. I watched it like as soon as COVID hit, like I'd say like 2 months into it. I had asked my partner if she had ever seen it, and she hadn't. So I was like, "Oh, we got to watch this." So we watched Contagion, and we're like, "Holy fuck!" We were like, I forgot how like fucking bleak it was, you know. And I'm like,
so
"Oh
bleak.
fuck! Why did I watch
so
this?"
bleak. It was
Yeah,
funny
see,
too.
well, yeah, you say that you wonder if it would be as popular. I wonder if it would like people would be like, I'm not fucking watching a reality
I know.
movie.
Yeah.
Well, no, and it's interesting because it was when I do remember when the pandemic hit, it was on Hulu and it was like one of the #1 watched movies. And I was like, man, people are fucking suckers for torture. Because it's like you're already stuck inside and now you're gonna watch this shit. But it was pretty crazy. I'm just curious if that would have like had the same effect. Because I remember when people saw it, everyone was talking about that movie for like the next 2 months and like freaked out about like the stuff in it.
See, well, I think this pandemic probably could have been curtailed a lot sooner if everyone was forced to watch that
movie. That's true. That's true. That's true.
Watch Contagion.
Required viewing for the pandemic.
The government takes over all the TVs and just puts Contagion on. It's like,
yeah. I mean, well, once people like start calming down, they gotta just ramp it back up. You know, watch Contagion. Get your reality slap and.
Oh shit. All right, well let's go to the verdict, and when you guys get there, just I guess you can talk about your favorite scenes or favorite nostalgia bits or something like that. Because if we started that now and had a discussion, I feel like we'd go another hour. So let's do the verdict, and we'll do that in a moment.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, it is verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Ghostbusters Afterlife was a trick or a treat, and any final thoughts we may have. Let's kick it off with our man Freddie.
Treats the positive, I assume, right?
Yes.
Okay. No,
even we forget, and we've been doing this almost 10 years. So
Yeah. Way to lay your hand out that you don't listen to the show.
Total treat.
Yeah.
Total treat. It's like I said, it's probably one of my favorite recent memories of going to theaters. Because just being able to see that with my dad and my niece and me, that was cool in itself. If there's a scene that sticks out to me, I mean, besides the ending, which I don't want to ruin, but I would say I remember when I was watching it the first time, the opening sequence I love for this movie, because I wasn't sure what direction they were going to take it in terms of like, why are these people here? Why are we in bumfuck, America? What's going on? And I really thought that opening, it actually reminded me of like a Barry Sonnenfeld kind of film, like the opening to Men in Black or something like that, where you're just kind of in the middle of nowhere and you're like, what does this have to do with anything? And then you're like, whoa, okay, now I get what's going on. It does a really good job of setting up the movie. It has an awesome like horror element, which I felt was a lot like the original Ghostbusters, where you're in the library, you have this sense of like, oh, what are we doing in the library? And then it's like, oh, this is what we're fucking doing in the library. And then it even has that awesome, nice reference / nostalgic callback to the original film involving the chair and the arms, which I thought really, really cool. So that was really cool.
All right, let's go to Aries.
I agree with everything Freddie said. This movie definitely gives you a nostalgic feel from start to finish, and the initial setup of it, where it is a family friendly horror setup, and it sets up the movie, but it doesn't give too much away at the same time. It tells you everything but tells you nothing, and that is part of what makes this movie great. And the nostalgia of it, and the new exploration of this whole story is great about this movie. And the fan service that I love the most about this movie was the miniature Stay Puft Marshmallow Mans. I loved that scene where they were cooking each other and just killing each other, and it was horrifying and adorable at the same time. and I don't think I've ever seen that before in my life. So that is what I love. So this movie is a treat. Check it out.
All right, Michael Ravenshadow.
Listen, it's fair to say there's a certain segment of the Ghostbusters fandom that is a superstitiously cowardly lot. I'm not saying all of them, but let's just throw it out there, right? And this movie is not a like-to-like comparison to the '84 movie. It could be argued that the brand services a lot of masters, from the films to the cartoons to 2016. I'm too old to really die on any of those hills. But I think what this movie does best is that and once again, there's a lot of strife and turmoil in the original creators trying to get a third movie made that you can look up on the internet. You know what I mean? I'm not telling anyone that doesn't know anything about this. They've tried to make this version, but this is the version that we got. And I think it's an interesting bridge between '84 and maybe the Stranger Things demographic. And I think that much, if you want, the last thing I'm going to say about fucking Star Wars is that I watched Force Awakens saying, where's Han, Luke, and Leia? And then 20 minutes in, I'm like, oh, where's fucking these other new characters? I like them. And I think that there are some interesting characters, and where this goes from here, this could be the final version of these characters we ever saw, or it could keep going. And I'm okay with that.
For sure.
And despite the folks that were pissed off that, wait a minute, part 2 wasn't in the fucking franchise, but they're focusing on Gozer, guys. Slow it down. No one talks about Vigo. Maybe Vigo will be in part 2.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert. My fucking best line fucking in part 2 is like, where are you from? Upper West Side. I fucking adore that fucking dude. But hey, man, overall, this was a treat, man.
Oh yeah, if they do another one, hopefully there is a fucking Vigo. But yeah, for me, yeah, this was a treat. I mean, this is just a fun nostalgia trip. Is this going to be one of my favorite movies of the year? At the end of the year, probably not. I really enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. But it was just one of those things. It was like comfort food, right? You just sit down, you're watching it, and it's like, oh man, it just makes me feel good. Just watching this and seeing these new characters, kind of exploring these stories that we grew up with. And as far as like, I really did enjoy the discovery of like when Phoebe was kind of discovering all these different, things, when they found, or when Finn even found the Ecto-1, like that was cool. We had like a quick little reveal there, but when they found the I'm forgetting what they're called now, but the packs, the proton packs, that's it.
Proton packs. Yeah.
And that whole scene where they set up the bottles, and I'm like, yeah, no, like, and they fucking disintegrated everything, like that. I thought that was cool. I did like the relationship between Phoebe and Podcast. I thought was fun, and it's not lost on me. There's a character named Podcast, and like hearing him talk about, we really found our groove on the 46th episode. I can relate, my friend. I can relate. So I thought that was it. It could be dated, one of those things that's dated. But if you look at Ghostbusters in '84, that's dated. So it's really not. It's not a bad thing. But I think for me, I guess the scene, I like that. I like the discovery of the proton pack and the basement, or the room that was at the bottom of the fire pole there. I thought that was really cool, and the stuff with the how do I say, with the light shining on things, and like when they're in that room, when like when Phoebe's finding things and the way she's able to find them, there's like a helping hand, so to speak. I thought that stuff was really cool, and especially at the end, I'll say is the helping hand at the end when she's holding the proton pack. I thought was like, it was like, wow, okay, like I've heard a lot of grown men cry over this film, and I'm sure that was the scene that did it. Because that was pretty powerful and pretty emotional, and Yeah, so this is a treat for me. A lot of fun, and if you're a fan of the original, I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't check this out, because it's super nostalgic and super fun, and you know, as I kind of made a joke earlier saying like, you know, they fit like so much fan service in this, like it almost was bursting at the seams.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like that's what was needed. You know, if there was less, it probably wouldn't have worked as well. So I think they hit the right amount of fan service with like good story and fun characters and all that. So I think it's just a real fun film that any fan of Ghostbusters should definitely check out. So now it's available widely on VOD and Blu-ray and DVD and all that stuff, definitely give it a look and check out Ghostbusters Afterlife. All right, well, that is going to wrap up our film discussion. Freddie, we kept you way longer than we anticipated.
It's cool. It's cool.
But I appreciate you hanging out. It's always fucking blast to talk to you, man. And I love talking about the mixtape stuff, and but above all that, it's just a blast just to shoot the shit with you. And maybe when the world gets back to some semblance of normalcy, we can meet up and have a coffee or something like that sometime.
For sure, dude. Definitely.
Now that we realize that me and Freddie live in the same state.
We live 40 minutes away.
So yeah, so that would be awesome. So Freddie, once again, people can check you out on mixtapemassacre.com and follow you on social media. If there's anything else you want to plug, Fred, please feel free.
We have our virtual event, Mixtape Madness 2, coming up March 12th at 9 p.m. EST on our YouTube channel. All you need is a copy of our game Escape from Tall Oaks to join in. And as Johnny mentioned many times during the episode, we have both the director's cut of our game coming out, and we have Float from the Deep, our brand new aquatic horror game coming out this year. Both are available for pre-order. Director's cut will drop in March, and the Float will drop in the summer.
Well, you're going to be a very busy man, my friend, over the next few months. So maybe after all the madness wears off, we'll see if we can get you back on and
for sure,
and just kind of shoot the shit once again. But best of luck with the launch of those two games. That's awesome. I can't wait to play them. I'm going to have to get on there and pre-order mine soon because I definitely want to get both of those. But Freddie, as always, it was a pleasure, my friend, and always a blast to hang out and shoot the shit with you. Raven Shadow, Aries he must be a ghost in his house or something. Is he?
That's what I was saying. I was like, man, he is dead staring the wall right now.
Look at him. Raven Shadow, is there anything you want to say?
I'm so fucking worried right now. I might have to drive over Aries.
I feel like I'm in the movie fucking Host, and it's just like suddenly you're gonna see him fly across the.
We're gonna see like a fucking knife go flying across the camera.
I kept waiting for like I almost wish my niece was here and like she could get in a costume because I have this doorway right behind me, and I'm like, this would be an opportune moment for like someone to just burst into the fucking room. Man.
It sucks because I don't know what the fuck Aries is doing, but I want to say nice things to Freddie. But I'm kind of concerned for one of my oldest friends. So, fuck Aries. So yeah, Big Us Mixtape Massacre. Thank you for coming on. Love you, dude. Let's go out Float. And yeah, man. Till next.
No, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
It's always a lot of fun coming on here.
Of course, man. And I'm sure Aries would echo those sentiments, but apparently he's dealing with an infestation of ghosts, so we'll let him do his thing. And we're going to head to a quick commercial break right now, but we'll be back. We'll kind of wrap things up. So, Fred, once again, thanks so much, man. Everyone go check out Mixtape Massacre and also check out Float and pre-order those if you haven't done so yet. All right, well, we're going to head to a break. We'll be back in just a moment. Thanks again, Fred.
Later.
The following message is a paid advertisement for the Cult of Muscle podcast. The Cult of Muscle. You're either in it or you're dead.
It's the dawning of a new age. The halls of Valhalla have been shuttered. The heroes of yore have either retreated to the shadows or taken to capering for the amusement of the small folk. Their past glories a distant memory. The barbells have been torn from their once puma-strong grips. The beards shorn from their square jaws, only to be transplanted onto flannel-clad, puny weaklings with fingers barely powerful enough to strum a ukulele. The time has come, my brothers. to restore order from the chaos. No longer will our heroes be forgotten. No longer will their great deeds be viewed through a foggy lens of irony. Hear now our rallying cry as we scream it from the mountaintops, as we bellow it from iTunes and Libsyn and Facebook. It's time to join the cult, my brothers. So don your cloaks and enter the cult of muscle.
I'm Alex West.
And I'm Andrea Subasati, and we're from the Faculty of Horror podcast.
And you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
Oh, delicious nerds. Ms. M knows you like to chat it up with other sexy shut-ins about comics, movies, video games, and your favorite TV shows. If that sounds like you, cuddle up to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group, or the FIB. That stands for Fan Interaction Board. Just go to Facebook and search for Trick or Treat Radio and have more fun than a Jedi at a lightsaber sale. Not enough? Watch us on YouTube, The Deadites TV, all one word. Last but not least, check out the world's most dangerous talk radio show, Trick or Treat Radio, at trickortreatradio.com.
All right, we're back on Trick or Treat Radio. Aries, do you have a ghost infestation going on over there?
My God, I've lived in my house for 20 plus years. I've never heard this sound before in my life. There was some kind of alarm going off outside, like in the distance. I don't know if it was an air raid siren or something, but my God, like I heard it in the house. I had to go outside, and that's where it was coming from. It was the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I wish MZ was still on the show so I could ask him about it, because it was coming from his direction.
It's probably him.
Yeah, maybe it was him. I don't fucking know. It was weird. Like, I went and it was like, no, that's outside. And I went outside and it was like, as soon as I got outside, it that was the last I heard of it. Like, it finished its cycle and was done.
We thought you were just getting attacked by like a ghost or something.
I thought, I really, like I said, air raid siren. Like that's the closest thing I can relate to it. Except for it wasn't continuous. It had a weird build and then decline.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, it really. I wish I could have recorded it. Like, it was so bizarre. I'm sorry I missed Freddie's. Goodbye, Freddie. I'm sorry. Like, it was really weird.
Well,
I don't like weird
we said that
noises.
you probably would echo a lot of the sentiments that we had. So.
Okay.
Oh shit, that's fucking hilarious. All right. So that was awesome. Freddy's always the fucking best, man. Love that dude. Glad we got a chance to get Freddy on. I know he's going to be a busy dude with 2 new games coming out in the coming months. But as I mentioned, you guys should check out Mixtape Massacre if you haven't already. We had a blast playing it when we played it years ago, and the director's cut. If you don't have it, get the director's cut. Looks amazing, and also Float just looks fucking great. So if you guys haven't already, take a look and consider pre-ordering, and I'm sure we'll have a blast. Yeah, I'm actually gonna. I think as soon as we finish, I think I'm gonna pre-order Float from the Deep, because it looks fucking awesome. So there you go, Raven Chow. You all excited?
I'm excited. No, Freddie was great. He stayed on way longer than he was supposed to.
He's like an hour longer.
Sorry, Fred. No, I think we had a good comment, and we covered a lot of. The conversation covers a lot of masters, right? It covers a lot of.
Serves a lot of masters, not covers.
Yeah, it serves a lot of masters.
That would be like a blanket covering him, like a master.
It's cold out.
God damn it, Jesus Christ!
No, it covers a lot of. It services a lot of fucking shit.
Services.
We're on a good run.
But you know what? Here's the thing too. I've something 2 weeks ago. I took to heart, and I want to share.
Oh, please share. We are your therapist. Go ahead.
Yes.
You are my therapist.
Lay down on the couch and talk. Bring the mic with you, though.
I was going to say
do that.
Then he won't talk into the mic.
I'm in the mic.
You are the mic.
Oh, I am the mic. But after something that Aries said 2 weeks ago, I entered into my routine, and I'm proud to say that for going on 2 weeks now, I've adjusted my alarm clock to be at the time that I'm supposed to wake up at.
So no more waking up at 2 a.m. for no apparent reason?
No. I would set my alarm clock at 4:30 in the morning, and then 5 o'clock in the morning. And when I really have to wake up, would be at 5:30 in the morning.
So what do you do? You set it at 5. You hit snooze once, and you get up.
No, I set it at 5:30, and I give myself a 15-minute window.
There you go.
To like snuggle with Ollie.
So you hit snooze, essentially.
Yeah. But still, it's better than the 4:30.
Oh, no. I am not knocking you. That is a completely healthy way of getting up. Hitting snooze one time, that is completely healthy and acceptable.
Yes. And I've noticed the difference.
I am proud of you.
Oh, man. I'm so proud of you, Raven Shadow.
And that's me trying to be present.
You're open to change. That's big.
It's fucking. I am big.
Big in the pants. BigInThePants.com.
We had a long lens over here in the studio. But
wait, is that your response to Marianne? Like, I am big. Like that's what you say in bed?
Honey, I'm big.
Well, you've been called big and thick, so I mean, you got that going for you.
Mostly by dudes.
By dudes, yeah, exactly.
It's not my target demographic. But no, I listened to what you said, Aries, and I've been doing that, and I felt better.
You feel better? Yes. See, isn't that it's good? And you know what? I think the listeners could get that sense from your intro this week. It was a lot more positive and up.
Coherent.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't. Yeah.
No one felt like jumping off a cliff after listening to your intro this week.
Well, as far as we know.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, Raven Chow, thank you for sharing that with everybody.
Sure. I'm being more trying to be more present. And
Sharing is caring. All right. Before we get too far away from the film discussion, I wanted to mention what we're doing next week because we usually do that after we talk about the film discussion. But next week will be a Patreon takeover. And next week we're going to be joined by Carlitos, Patreon extraordinaire Carlitos, and he has picked 2 films for us. So Raven Shadow, you have 2 extra days to watch another film. So you gotta get on that, right? Both films are available to watch as of now, so you don't have to wait around. But the 2 films that we're going to be doing, Carlitos has picked some very interesting choices here. Now, first up, the first one he gave me like immediately. He's like, I want to do this one. And he asked if I'd seen it first, and I haven't. I think he even asked you, Raven Shadow, as well. But we're going to be doing I think it's, let me just make sure I'm getting the information correct. This is an Indonesian film called Lady Terminator from 1989. And the synopsis on this one, it's an action drama fantasy. Synopsis: the spirit of an ancient evil queen possesses the body of a young anthropological student who then goes on a murderous rampage. What do you think, Raven Channel?
Treat.
You're already anointing it the treat?
Yeah, no, I'm going to fucking support Carlitos. No, I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited, and we've talked in the chat room. My own chat room.
Ooh,
our
private chat?
Yeah, a couple of dudes.
Why aren't we invited to that chat?
Because it's private.
Private. It's like private school.
I'll remember that.
So this is a Indonesian grindhouse picture, Raven Shadow. So
independent movie.
What?
Independent grindhouse movie.
No, I said Indonesian.
What I say?
Independent.
Well, I'm.
Oh God, what's the next movie?
And the next one, so we're doing a film from 1989, and then we're doing a more recent film, a film that just hit VOD not too long ago, and that is the new Resident Evil film, Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City, which seems what's that?
That's a little bit of a swerve.
A little bit, yeah. But this one seems to be, anyways, a little bit more close to the video games than the other series with oh my God, what's her name?
Return to the Blue Lagoon.
That's not her name.
Liv Tyler's
Mila Jovovich. Yep.
Mila Jovovich. Yeah.
So it is not a continuation of that series. This is its own thing, and it looks like it's, as I mentioned, kind of more based on the video game than the other series was. So we shall see. And it was directed by Johan Roberts, and he did 47 Meters Down, which was a film from 2017, shark movie. That got some pretty decent praise from what I recall. And what's
Kelly
that?
Clarkson? Did it have Kelly Clarkson in it?
Let me see.
It was some
Mandy Moore.
Oh, Mandy Moore. I feel that she could have played Kelly Clarkson once.
Also had Matthew Modine.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, he did 47 Meters Down. He also did I guess there was a sequel, 47 Meters Down, Uncaged, and he also did the Strangers Prey at Night, which was a sequel to The Strangers. So, dude's got some genre cred in his back pocket, and we'll be checking out that as well. So, Lady Terminator, and also doing Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. So looking forward to that. Can't wait to have Carlitos on for that show. Should be a lot of fun. Yeah, should be some interesting discussions as well. Have either of you guys, Raven Shadow or Aries, have either of you guys played the original Resident Evil video game?
I've played the original and one of the sequels, and I wasn't impressed with the sequel. The original I played, I liked it. It wasn't mine, so I was very limited as what I could do.
Gotcha. Raven Shadow, how about you?
Kind of same. I never had a PlayStation 2. I got N64 when it came out, but I played Resident Evil over a buddy Bill's and Bob's house, Bob Posnick.
Nice. So at least you guys aren't strangers to the video games. I do recall playing. I know I beat the first one. I don't remember. It's a little. I know I played most of the series. I have not played Village, which is the most recent one, but I've played quite a few of them. But I do recall the first one definitely being my favorite, and definitely was maybe the first game I can remember ever being kind of creeped out by. Because at that time, I don't remember any scary games necessarily. But
there was that spider. There was a zombie that turned around the corner.
Dogs. Even the fucking dogs jumping on the fucking window. That playing that at 2 a.m. in the fucking at night with all the lights out. Yeah.
When it might be H as F. You know what I mean? Just saying.
Me or you?
Me. I'm speaking for me.
Yeah, not me. H as F.
Sure you.
I'm
not sure you.
Why don't you just say high as fuck? Because
then I was high as fuck. It was the 90s. Okay.
Well, 90s, same as the 2000s.
It was between the 90s and
Not
2000s.
much changed.
You weren't high as fuck in the 90s. You didn't discover pot until after the 2000s.
No, that's not true.
No, he used to smoke it at the Murrow Manor all the time.
Yeah. Nice.
You forgot about it for a while, though.
Yeah, well, that's because I'm high.
You got reintroduced to an old friend.
Yeah, no.
Your old friend, Primo Ganj.
It was scary. It wasn't like playing was it Resident Evil we played at Jillian's, the arcade, right?
It's House of the Dead. That's House of the Dead.
The House of the Dead. Yeah, House of the Dead was dope too.
House of the Dead. Yeah, it's funny. When I was a film projectionist, I used to be in the building alone sometimes. I would be, putting films together, and everyone had basically gone except for maybe one of the managers would be in the office, and I could hear House of the Dead, the video game that we had down in the lobby, playing through all through the building, and I just remember the House of the Dead, and then it would play the music, and it was always would sometimes catch me off guard because I just wasn't expecting it, at 3 a.m. in the morning, putting films together and stuff.
Yeah, right. I remember showing up at your place of work around 11 or 12 p.m.
Yeah.
when we test the movies, and it was scary.
One thing I thought might be fun. So we have a little bit of time. We do have one voice message I'll play in a little bit. But now that we've talked about what we're doing next week, I thought it might be kind of fun. I didn't want to bring it up while Freddie was here just because I didn't want to, go too far off a derailment. But we do have a story, at least Raven Shadow and I have a story about one of the Ghostbusters.
Oh.
Do you remember?
I forget.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll set it up. I'll let you knock it down, but I'll set it up. So we went to Scaricon. This is the first one they had out in Springfield, Massachusetts. Scaricon Scaricon used to do festivals or conventions in New York, and it was their first time in Massachusetts. And so we were all on board, and we got to go and have our own booth, and they kind of put us up and to kind of cover it and also to cover some of the panels and things like that. So, you know, they were all good to us. And, you know, it was the first time they had the convention, so it wasn't packed. You know, it's in Springfield, which is not a really good location for this. But it was in the Springfield Civic Center, I believe. So it was a pretty big building that they were in. So anyways, we finished, I think it was on Saturday, yeah, because we had been there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we finished Saturday, and we were hanging out with some of the guys from Vinegar Syndrome and like just a bunch of other folks that were just kind of like there hanging out, right?
It was huge collective, Johnny, though. So at least that Saturday
there was like 10 to 12 of us probably.
Mark Sheets and his wife showed up.
Sheets and Alicia, yeah.
The Ghostbusters, Robert Aronsky was there. The Trick or Treat Radio Boys, a huge collective, a bunch of other people that I don't want to say someone's name that I can't remember.
Yeah.
And Barbeau was there, but
well, yeah. So we were all going to go out to eat as we do, right, at the convention. There's the tradition of usually on Saturday, sometimes on Friday, sometimes on Sundays, but always like the Saturday, everyone gets together. We go out and like in a big expedition, we go find a restaurant and everyone you know, sit around, have some food, have some drinks, and have some fun. So we're walking around Springfield looking for a restaurant, like this huge fucking gaggle of people, and there was no fucking restaurants. Like,
now, keep in mind, the convention ended at like 5 o'clock at night. And so this is now 5 to 6 o'clock on a Saturday in a city. And everything is shut the fuck down.
Well, and there wasn't really anything to speak of anyways. There was like a handful of restaurants, and we're like, oh, we'll just keep walking. We'll find something.
We kept walking because the restaurant at the hotel, that the convention center had like a horrible like a negative 3-star review or something.
Yeah, it was so ridiculous. So we're like, yeah, let's avoid that.
It was like, yeah, they got chicken tenders with celery. Perfect. So we kept walking, and every joint was closed. There's actually even a joint called the Shadow Lounge, which was fucking dope.
You took a picture in front of it. I remember that.
And that was when there was the dude in the side of the corner. I thought, like, you the guy. And he thought I was fucking Keanu Reeves. Which everyone else walked away, but John, you were the only one that stayed with me.
Yeah.
At one point, there was literally a park with a cop car with a door adjacent open, and there was no cop to be had. It was this piece of shit area of Springfield. Right? We couldn't find anywhere, but we found one location. We thought, hey, they got a bunch of tables in the back. Maybe that could accommodate all of us. Do you remember that place?
Do I remember the name of it? Is that what you're asking?
No, the name, but you remember the location of the furniture.
Yeah. So, sorry, are you passing it to me? Like,
I was going to pass it, but I take it back.
Yeah, take it back. I was doing something.
So fine. So the Shadow Lounge was closed. Cop car, fucking door open, no cop there. There. Every fucking joint. Finally found one place. Oh, they had a bunch of tables that were cordoned off. Okay, well, it sucked because we were traveling probably like 15 people deep. Well, that place could accommodate us, but no, we can't. You can't come in. Why? So as we were trying to figure out the place, then walks in the legendary Ernie Hudson. His I'm not saying anything out of turn. His dwarf manager, his son, and some blonde woman.
Yep.
So there were 4 of them and 15 of us, and they got the table for 25 people. That was cordoned off. And we're like, what the fuck? Why can't we go there? I'm like, yo, shit, Ernie Hudson. He's like, yeah. And he kept walking by. It's like, he knew he fucking took the fucking table for all of us.
Yeah. He didn't care.
He didn't give a fuck.
We did see him. I do remember someone saying, that's Ernie Hudson. He's like, hey. Like, he walked right in.
Yeah. He totally fucking CB'd our fucking table, man.
Yeah.
And then we had to go back to the fucking restaurant with the fucking
negative 3-star review.
Yeah. and I had a fucking pack of hot dogs and a dirty muffin to go home to. Although to be fair, going back to that we can't talk about some of the stories. But after dinner, our shitty fucking overpriced hotel chicken tender dinner, we were all like, often we do when we go places, we don't leave right away.
We hang out for hours usually.
Right, like typically leaving a restaurant is like Hanukkah, where there's like 12. There's like, 8 crazy nights,
8 crazy hours.
There's the pay the bill, go outside, go to the cars. So we're standing outside the hotel lobby. And now, meanwhile, some of the other like celebrities and celebrities are trying to go to the same place that we went to. I'm like, don't fucking go there. Ernie Hudson runs that fucking joint. But we had a circle going on. And second Rusty from European Vacation.
Second Rusty. Oh, that dude was a fucking trip though, man, huh?
He's the best Rusty.
Jason Lively, right? Is that his name?
The great Jason Lively, who's my friend on Facebook.
Yeah, mine too. After that.
Yeah. I feel he like parted our circle like Moses, like a Rusty like Moses.
Rusty like Moses.
All party. And I'm like, no man, Ernie Hudson got that joint locked down. But that was the memory.
Yeah, so Ernie Hudson stole our table, but you know what? Hey, he can have it. We went to the negative 3-star restaurant and we had fun still.
Yeah, $24 for chicken tenders.
Yeah, no shit. Like water probably costs money there. I forget.
Yeah. I think $15 water, Johnny.
Yeah. Aries, are you upset you weren't there with us?
I probably would not have bitten my tongue and would have made Ernie Hudson mad. Because I don't give a rat's ass how famous you are. You don't deserve to take a table away from anyone.
Literally, we all could have fit.
Yeah, exactly why I would have been annoyed and probably would have said something that everyone would have been mad at me for saying.
So there you have it. And, now we're here talking about the movie that Ernie Hudson was in. So who's got who's got the last laugh now, right?
Got a full belly, probably.
So I just wanted to, I'm pretty sure we've told that story before, but I figured it'd be worth telling again on this episode since we talked about Ghostbusters.
He did walk, didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a.
No, he had his he had his little what was he, a manager? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the right term is, but it was like it just stood out. It stood out because of the appearance, right?
He was little. He was a little person.
Very little
fella.
Yeah, little fella. I think we talked to the little fella earlier too, like at the show or something like that. I just remember him looking familiar, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's that guy."
And the very attractive blonde woman.
Yep. So there you go. There's our story about Ernie Hudson stole our fucking table. All right. Well, what do we got here? We got some. We got a voice message, and I wanted to ask you guys. Oh no, we talked about this last week. Never mind. Have you? I can't remember, Raven Shadow. Have you caught up on Book of Boba Fett?
Yo.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, I was pissed at Aries on fucking Saturday night. So,
what? I didn't even talk to you on Saturday night.
That's the first reason why I'm upset. So we had a very big fucking substantial snowstorm in New England, and I'm sure Aries was out plowing. But the shop actually closed on Saturday. So I was able to catch up on Peacemaker and Mandalorian. So I was caught up as of Saturday. But yo, that episode of fucking Book of Boba Fett was fucking dope. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't weird. I'm not saying there weren't some weird revelations, especially to some native Tatooine people.
In Jawas.
Yeah. Not saying that wasn't weird, especially the.
Oh, yeah, hopefully that sex tape never comes out.
Oh my! I'm kind of intrigued. I love it. I love it. I love that Mandalorian is the most badass motherfucker in the galaxy, but he's still kind of a dummy and a sad sack sometimes.
Yeah,
and still has to like, oh, okay, put your weapons in here.
Yeah, he was basically flying fucking coach.
Yeah, flying coach. He's like, I know everything that's fucking in there.
Well, you know what's sad about that scene is that's you, Raven Shadow.
Yeah,
like you were just like no, it's part of my religion. Okay, here you go.
Well, actually, that's not what he did, because if you think about the Danzig show, Raven Shadow, right? Oh no, wait, you left, right?
I'm like, I'm not going in.
Yeah, because they wanted to take his tweezers, so he decided, no, I'm not going to go to the concert.
Now, the difference there is he would not have gotten those back.
True.
Thank you.
But
I've given up many pocket knives because I've forgotten to relinquish them before I've walked into a club.
But it wasn't just the tweezers. I know if they would take the tweezers, they would fucking have a hard time with my fucking Leatherman, my multi-tool. And that was a gift from my dad, and I don't want to fucking give that away. And I've already seen Danzig fucking 3 times.
But there was the chance that he wasn't going to get his weapons back in Book of Boba Fett.
Right, and I would have been annoyed if so. I'm glad they didn't go that route.
But it was understood he was going to get them back because it was just putting them in storage as he traveled.
Right.
And the difference between Raven Shadow going to see Danzig and I forget the name, Mando.
Yeah.
I don't like to refer to him as that, but
Din
Djarin. Din Djarin. He needed to travel, as Raven Shadow did not need to see Danzig.
Raven Shadow, did you like the little present that he had?
I was a little moved.
Yeah.
I was fucking. Ollie and I were watching that fucking Saturday night with the special lights on, and
special lights on.
Yeah, no, I got lights up here now. You got to check it out. It's nice.
Marion's really opening, broadening your horizons.
Yeah, no, it's like a fucking theater up here. It's just enough lighting. You guys can come over. We'll play fucking Mixtape Massacre and fuck. I'll float over.
No. I still gotta ask why you annoyed with me.
Well, no. I'm not. I love you. You know
that. You showed you expressed annoyance, anger. Why?
Thank you.
Did he spoil something?
No, you didn't like that. I don't know what you didn't like about that episode. You said you didn't.
Wait. So you're annoyed and angered at me because I didn't like the episode?
No, I'm annoyed and angered that you didn't come over last Friday. And I'm using this as a deflectionary tactic. No. But I'm surprised what you didn't like. Aside from the mechanic, who I thought was goddamn, she's a little bit much, but she did kind of grow.
No, she is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, she's awesome, yeah.
I mean, well, let's fucking we're diving into spoilers of last week's episode of The Mandalorian. If something hasn't already been spoiled, shut the fucking podcast off. Because my problem with that episode is we're watching the Book of Boba Fett. I'm not watching The Mandalorian. That was a Mandalorian episode. That is my issue with it. And well, no. Let me finish, because there could have been a mishmash. They could have just teased what happened, and then in the next, because there is going to be a season 3, they could have revisited what we didn't see, and there could have been a whole crossover, and it could have been brilliantly done and meshed together so perfectly. Instead of just kind of they're holding to a strict timeline.
Well, I think so. I think this had a lot to do, even though we didn't see Boba Fett, it has a lot to do with Boba Fett. There's a lot of subtle sort of hints. And I feel like when you revisit this is just my feeling now, but I think when you revisit this later, it's going to make a lot of sense. I think where they're going with it, like Boba is building a family now. Like he's trying to become a leader. Mando is a leader, but doesn't want to be, because when you hold the Darksaber, you're a fucking leader, but he doesn't want to be a leader. I think these two paths are going to connect. And also the Armorer said something about legends about the rise of the Mythosaur. The Mythosaur is the emblem that Boba wears on his armor. And I think there's going to be something to that. So I think there's a lot of reason for that. Yes, no Boba Fett in the episode, but I feel like that it will pay off. And their stories are sort of dovetailing in a way that I think will pay off.
But I don't think they're kind of doing it correctly, because they are just kind of, because this is where this story takes place in the timeline, they're wedging it in there rather than having it just kind of being hinted at, and then when the Mandalorian story happens, it's kind of wedged in. Like, it is all happening chronologically rather than I forget the terminology, like Pulp Fiction, where you kind of go back and forth.
Non-linearly?
Non-linear, yes. And I feel that this story could have, these two stories could be great if they did that. And also to what you said about him being a leader. I don't think he is a leader yet. I think he is building to be a leader,
right.
And that is why he cannot handle the Darksaber yet.
I don't know anything, so this is not like a spoiler for anything. But my feeling is that eventually Boba is going to be Mandalore. He's going to be the leader. I think he'll have the Darksaber. They're building towards him being a leader, and I think Din, I don't think he wants it. Maybe he eventually will, but that's what I feel like, and I feel like it was a subtle hint to say that the Mythosaur will rise again. I think that was a subtle hint. But we'll see. Just a theory, Yeah,
I mean, I think it's different. I think Jin or Mando is the reluctant hero. Almost comes a lot of mythology in this fucking galactic nonsense. But at least as it stands, I like that these guys are bros, intergalactic bros who've shared adventures together.
Are they bros?
Yeah, I don't like that term, bro. That has a negative.
All right,
yeah,
brothers.
Yes.
All right, brothers, but not like fucking jock and shit, but like they're. It's like, and even when the amazing Ming Na Wen, who's fantastic. It's like, how much credits do we have? I love the fact that they're fucking partners. Fett and who's Feta? What's her name?
Sorry, Feta? What?
What's her character's name?
Ming Na Wen's character?
Yeah.
Fennec Shand.
Fennec. I don't know. Yeah, when Fennec Shannick and Boba Fett. I love that they're a legit tag team. And she goes to recruit Mando, and Mando's like, "Yo, I'll do this for free, son."
Well, he doesn't speak like that.
Yeah, he does. So I have different subtitles on my TV. I got urban style. But they're fucking brothers and they're friends. Kind of like, Buck Rogers and Hawk from that show, or Spencer for Hire,
or Robin directing a movie.
Robin directing Batman. They're fucking.
I was like, did you just go Buck Rogers from that show?
No, from Buck Rogers, and he had his own Hawk, And then
yeah, but you went Buck Rogers and Hawk from that show. Like you couldn't recall the show that Buck Rogers was in.
But there's been two legendary Hawks. There was Hawk that flew the Hawk plane in Buck Rogers, and there was fucking Hawk that was later Deep Space Nine captain, Cisco.
Yeah, in case anyone was confused as to where you were going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny. Like sometimes you get brothers fucking doing stuff, having adventures.
Well, you know what? I don't like his new ship.
The N1? No.
Oh, do you miss the Seacrest?
No. I do miss the Seacrest, and I was hoping he was going to get a cooler ship. I don't like that ship. That is not a cool ship.
I like the N1. I think it's cool, and regardless of what people think about the prequels, I like that they're referencing them because they are canon. They're part of it, you know. So I like that they did the pod race course as he was testing it out, and I like the N1 with that chrome finish with the yellow, you know, stripped off of it. I think it looks fucking sharp.
I do like the reference to the prequels. I don't like that ship for him and for any type of bounty hunter because there isn't room to collect your bounty.
Well, I think there's a big reason for that. I don't think
and they're probably going to get into that. But I do also like, I had to actually look this one up because when it popped up, I was like, why does that look familiar? And I looked it up. There's a piece they put in this ship that is the brace that they tried to hold the compactor closed with.
Yeah, that was the part that the Jawas got from. I can't remember the.
Yeah, I forget the name of it, but I was like, why does that look familiar?
Like, oh, TD. Yeah. And to be fair, I did say Seacrest intentionally. I know it's called the Razor Crest. But
his new one's going to be called the Falcon Crest.
Lorenzo Lamas. My next car is called the fucking Lorenzo Lamas. I don't give a fuck. DB's renting. But no, and it's fucking claustrophobic, right? Like, you had a ship with doors and you can come in cold and stuff, but like, it's just, you need a little helmet. But I think that's part of him. He's gonna fucking purify himself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka, so he's gonna fucking be fast.
Purify yourself in the lakes of Lake Minnetonka.
And that ship was the one, like a handful of good designs of the prequel movies.
Yeah, no, I think it looks sharp. I mean, I get it, but it doesn't fit him now. But I mean, it makes sense that he would want to be in a fucking fast ship, you know. So
there's room for a child. Just saying.
Yep.
And those fucking D-bag rebel fucking cops.
Oh yeah.
They're not rebels anymore.
They're space police.
Space cop. Wait a couple of years. They're wrecking rebels again. First Order, New Order, New World Order.
It's a cryogenic density combustion booster, Raven Shadow. There you go.
Thank you. I'm not sure what you said, little kid, but touch me. What is that? What is it? What did you just say?
That's the part that the Jawas brought him.
Obviously.
All right, well, I have a platform to talk about Star Wars. If people want to hear it, they can go listen over there. But
I enjoy.
If we keep on rambling long enough, we'll just bleed into that one.
Yeah. Well, this is the first time I think we've done this show before it, so yeah, we might. I'll just stay up till 3 a.m. and watch Book of Boba at 3 a.m. tonight.
I enjoyed it. I popped.
I figured you would have. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Are you liking the Peacemaker, Raven Channel?
Yeah, dude, I'm caught up on that too.
I haven't watched any of it yet. I really want to though.
It's fun, dude. It's fun. He goes. James Gunn has got to be a fucking huge comic nerd.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's already kind of stated that he is, but yeah.
Yes, and now there's takes on this that are not from the books at all, but it fucking works. And I literally wish, I can't believe I'm saying this. I wish Monster Zero was still here. No, I mean, I do mean that in real life. But he would adore fucking Peacemaker. Like Aries, you've seen it. Like, he would love this.
I haven't seen Peacemaker.
Really? It's fun.
Really?
It's fun. It's wild.
Maybe I'll watch. Well, as you guys know, the reason I'm doing this show tonight is because I'm getting my wisdom teeth out on Thursday. So I'm probably gonna have a lot of time on Thursday. So maybe that'll be the first thing I check out.
It's.
I think there's like 5 or 6 episodes now.
It's at least 5 as of Saturday. They're doing the weekly thing, and they're bringing in. You know, once again, there's characters who are not like they are in the books.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But it works for this universe. And I love the fact that some of these characters are becoming name recognition. You know? So like if I don't want to spoil stuff, but like it's fun.
You're a big fan of the John Cena?
Oh, I love John Cena back in the day too. He's really funny. He was great in that fucking Amy Schumer movie. That fucking theater scene. I fucking lose it every time I saw it. I see it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Amy.
I know what you're talking about, and the extended version of that scene is even better.
Right. It's fucking hilarious, right? Like Cena is great. He's dope, but he loves the role. It's so much fun.
All right. So, anything else you guys want to talk about? I don't know, like in terms of before we head to the voicemail, in terms of like stuff you watched or anything that came up this week that you wanted to bring up.
I watched a lot of snowfall.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you watch a lot of snow get plowed off the road as you drove the plow.
Oh yeah, I worked so much I had a little panic attack when I was driving home from work, and I realized I didn't see a plow in front of my truck, and I reached to raise it because I thought I was just driving down the road with a plow down.
Jesus. How much did you guys end up getting roughly? I heard Boston got slammed, but how much did you guys end up getting?
We got about 18 here.
Jesus. Ravenchild, you must have fucking hated it.
No, I mean it was cool. Like they called the shop being closed. It was Saturday, so they closed. The shop was closed by 9 a.m., which is rare. So I got to hang out Saturday with Ollie, talk to Rock for a little bit, talk to a few other friends. Good buddy Jeremy McFarlane, talk to him.
Nice. How's Jeremy doing?
He's doing good. We're doing some planning some guest appearances coming up for your boy.
Look at you, branching out, reaching out,
wrenching around,
wrenching off. Yeah.
And then got to do Sunday, just cleaning out, so that was good. And I watched a bunch of didn't lose power, so that was good.
Yeah, you must be excited.
Yeah, it's my anxiety, but yeah, it all worked out. But it was we got slammed. It literally is a Hoth playset out there. I took Ollie out earlier. There was a fucking probe droid coming at me. Not good.
Did you have to cut open a fucking tauntaun?
I didn't have to.
You just did.
Just did. The taunt.
Did you dig out little paths for him out back?
I did. No, I did. Now I put some little, even like little holes in the ground for like the pegs for the action figures. But no, I did. No, I have little like there's the paths, and then I did like little other areas. And he's still
like little bathrooms.
Yeah, little chambers.
Yeah,
little chambers.
Yeah.
First time Mike is hanging out in the chat room, and he says, hey guys, just saying hello now because I was out with other friends at the local game store. Awesome first time Mike. And he says, oh my god, Lady Terminator is fucking amazing. He says, I'm so excited. And then he also said, free tetanus shot with every entree. Must be a reference to the movie. So yeah, looking forward to that first time Mike. That'll be next week's show. All right, let's do that voice message because I'm curious to see what our boy Evil Corny has to say. And don't you dare get up, Raven Shadow. Corny would be pissed at you if you get up during his voice message.
Hey guys, I'm giving Ghostbusters Afterlife a treat. I really enjoyed the film. I think it's fun. A lot of nostalgia happening. It's a lot of heart to it. Only minus I have to say is I kind of wish the original Ghostbusters were in it a little bit more. But overall, I love the film. You all have a good one. Evil Cornet out. Raven Shadow, turn those lights on.
Apparently, he wants to see you in brilliant light. Raven Shadow.
Something no one's ever said.
Yeah, yeah.
We need to figure out a way to get your camera closer to you now that you're all alone in there.
Yeah, no. Put me under like a smoky neon beer light, and I'm pretty good.
All right. Let's see. I think we're pretty much done here. We ran the gamut of things. We had a lot of nostalgia. Talked about a lot of different things tonight. Is there anything else you guys wanted to bring up before we say goodbye?
I just want to say good luck, Johnny.
Thank you. I've been like, I know this is like most people probably had. I can't remember. Have you guys both had your wisdom teeth out?
I have not.
And my lack of wisdom teeth taken.
What? The lack of wisdom. Oh, I hear you. Yeah, most people get them when they're like super, like late teens, early 20s or whatever. But yeah, not looking forward to it. But it is what it is, right? Like gotta get done.
Listen, you're gonna get medication, okay?
you and you. I'm not gonna take it.
Then don't.
You're gonna ship it to Raven Shadow.
Yeah, I don't think I can ship that Raven Shadow.
Listen, well, we can figure something out, but just fucking take it. Just and once again, I'm not saying for me. I'm saying, but you're tired and you want to sleep. So don't. I'm not saying take it with fucking, drugs and alcohol like I do. But like you might just still fill it and have it on hand in case you need to sleep.
I don't have any trouble sleeping. Go ahead. Okay.
But if you
here's the catch, Raven Shadow. You want those pills? You're gonna drive down and pick them up yourself.
Yeah.
Then fine, but don't throw it away. Just listen. If it's a covered benefit, listen. I'm just talking to you.
You're just talking to me. Yeah.
You'll never be able to find him.
Yeah.
You'll be in Ohio looking for him. You can't find anything.
Then I'll be like, why am I still? Listen. Just get the scripture.
You don't care about like my well-being or like what I'm gonna eat or if I'm gonna like take care of myself.
Nope, you didn't hear what I said. To be able to go to sleep and go to bed. I'm not saying you're not going to abuse it. You're not going to abuse it.
What should I eat, Raven Shadow? What do you recommend that I eat when I can't chew for a day or two?
No, I was taking a lot of drugs. But but I would have something. Was there something that you want to get? Like once you can eat, is it like, oh, do you want like a tofurkey? Is it something like what
are you talking about?
So apparently, while you can't eat, you're just supposed to dream about what you can eat.
Well, no, but all I know is like I had some teeth extracted a couple years back, and it's when they brought with the whole fucking famous bowls from KFC, and I'm like, that's what I fucking want. It was like 2007, era of Boston Red
Jesus Christ.
And I'm like,
Julio
I'm gonna
Lugo era. Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, when I get better, I'm eating a fucking famous bowl like a mug. And I did. So like all I'm saying is like fill the scripture.
Jesus Christ. Do you remember how long you waited till you ate your famous bowl afterwards? Was it like days? Weeks?
I had some problems. I had some complications in those surgeries.
A lot of problems.
Yeah. You probably couldn't stop smoking. Were you able to stop smoking?
I did. I stopped smoking for 2 months.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
No dry socket for you then?
I was scared of dry socket.
Yeah. That'll do it for you. That'll do it to you.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, fuck you. Cancer. I'm trying to quit right now. Dry sockets. I heard that's bad. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
just saying, fill the script, John.
Jesus Christ.
But I hope you feel better, and I hope you can have some paste.
Paste. Go eat some paste. Thanks, Steven from Rhode Island.
No, feel better, buddy. I'm sorry. I can relate, and I do, and I don't.
But fill the script.
Jesus
Fill the
Christ.
script.
Fill the script, John.
All right, I'm gonna fucking end the script on this fucking episode. I'll tell you that much. So we'll be back next Thursday as usual on the live show. For those listening to the podcast on Friday, you won't notice any difference other than us mentioning that we were live on Tuesday, because it'll still drop on Friday. So no interruptions there. But yeah, big thanks to Freddie from Mixtape Massacre. Love talking to that dude. And as with a lot of our guests, like, he just fits right in, you know, like we could just literally talk for hours, and he's like just like one of the crew. He's like at the table with us, like back in the Denny's days. So awesome to anytime we can get Freddie on board, and appreciate his knowledge and his insight. And go check out mixtapemassacre.com and go ahead and order some of his games. All right, so let's go around the room and say our goodbyes, starting with Aries.
Goodbye.
Raven Chatham.
Live fast, love hard, survive.
All right, and we'll see if I survive getting my teeth pulled. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not really that scared, but just I just not looking forward to being out of commission for even a day. But we'll see how it goes. But next week we'll be back as scheduled on Thursdays for the live show, and appreciate everyone tuning in. We had a good turnout for the live show. Good to have some people who haven't checked in a little bit. And actually, real quick, I saw Angry Townsman commented in YouTube, and he says, "Is Lady Terminator streaming anywhere?" I actually had an old copy of it. I'm not sure if it is, Angry. Let me see if I can find out real quick before we get off the air. But he also said, anyone watch the first 3 episodes of Legend of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime? It really kicks off in episode 3. I have not. I'm familiar with it. Raven Shadow, you familiar? Do you know anything about it?
No, I've heard of it. Intrigued.
So it's Critical Role, who they're most known for having a D&D sort of campaign that they do on Twitch, and they got hugely successful and popular, and so now it has been turned into an animated series. So that's what this is that Angry's talking about. But yeah, they've been basically playing Dungeons & Dragons since 2014 together, online, streaming it, and they've gotten hugely popular, and literally to the point where they make millions of dollars a year just playing D&D on a Twitch stream. I think we're doing something wrong, guys.
Can we play Mistake Massacre?
Mistake Massacre?
We can play Mistake Massacre. That's when I'm working on that game. Mistake Massacre.
Wow. Sure.
Copyright.
Let me see. I was looking up, where did that go? I had a search going on one of my browser windows, and I don't know where it went. Let me look it up again. Okay, is Lady Terminator streaming? It may even be, I think it's on archive.org. I think you can watch it right from there, actually. I'm going to see if I can play it. I don't know if it's the edited version or if it's unrated, but yeah, it looks like it's playing. Yeah, so archive.org, just search for Lady Terminator 1989, and it's playing right here on the Internet Archive. So if you go to archive.org, it is playing, and I want to say it it might also be on YouTube. You could maybe look for it there, but you could definitely find it. Archive.org. It looks like it's already playing there. So,
it's probably on Tubi.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong there. So, and Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City is on VOD. I don't think it's on any streaming services yet, but let's see. I'll also look that up. I should have did this prior, so I appreciate Angry asking. But I know it is on VOD for sure. And yeah, I know you can get it on Prime. I think you have to buy it though. So yeah, I think it's only available to purchase. I don't think you can rent it yet. So, but it is available. So there you go. So those two are both available if you want to check them out. All right, now that we already started the wrap-up, I'll finish it and say, once again, big thanks to Freddie, and looking forward to hanging out with Carlitos on the next Patreon Takeover next week, and appreciate everyone tuning in to the live show a couple days early. I know that sometimes can be throw-off schedules, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. And so for everyone who will listen to the podcast, we also appreciate you, but we didn't mention Patreon earlier because we were just kind of getting into everything and making sure that we got enough time with Freddie. But patreon.com/trickortreatradio, check that out. And Patreon supporters, they are the best, and they keep us going, so we appreciate them the most. All right, well, that is going to do it. So we thank everybody, and big shout out to Freddie. And we'll see you guys next week for a Patreon Takeover with Carlitos. See ya.